July 4th, obviously, coming up on Monday. We will be off. It is a long weekend. Enjoy. It is positive on for the markets, anyways, on the day as we head into the final 2 hours of the day. 0.2 there for the S&P. We made it. The Dow as well, 0.23 to the upside. The NASDAQ still lagging ever so slightly, but it's only a matter of time, I feel, for the NASDAQ as well. TSX, disregard that. We are closed here in Toronto for Canada Day. Today, 3.8 for Bitcoin, 6% for Ethereum, back to the downside. Yeah, nice board to show you this afternoon. If it wasn't for all of this over here, which is primarily semiconductors, obviously coming off of Micron earnings after market yesterday, this market would be a lot higher than it is right now. Hardware equipment makers also in the red. WDC, STX, HPQ, their HPE as well, all 3+% to the downside. Pretty ugly for semis, though. Not sure we're going to get back to even break even at this point. You can see Micron right here, 3.8% to the downside. QCOM, same story right beside it, but LRCX leading 8.3%, ugly to the downside. Moderna, 4.4%, back higher today again, 2 days in a row. The rest of the healthcare group positive on the day. Material stocks, nice shape. Industrials, consumer stocks even back to the upside, including Etsy. There was a couple of positive notes on Etsy today, but overall, not a bad look heading into the end of the day with just these pesky semiconductors holding down the overall market. Hope your afternoon is going well. As I said, we had a couple of hours left to go in a pretty good week overall for the market, considering coming off of the quarter end, half year end, month end yesterday. We won't talk about that anymore. Let's try and be positive, shall we? Because the market is trying to go green. If you joined us this morning in the pre-market, we talked about a whole bunch of opportunities available at the open this morning. We got you set with a few specific ones. Neil is going to lead the way this afternoon with a look at one of his trades from this morning.
Revenge is a dish best served cold. Now, obviously, you should never revenge trade. However, I want to talk about Coinbase, and one of the things that can happen to you is you can miss out on a fantastic trading opportunity, and the easiest thing to do would go into absolute FOMO mode. Chase the trade that day, the next day, go and try and do exactly the same thing or overtrade that same stock. But sometimes when there's a good setup, it's their day too as well, and you want to make sure you play it the right way. And Coinbase, yesterday was a bit painful for me because we had that 50 level. We knew we liked the short on Coinbase, and the 50 level was what we're cluing in on. We'd gap below it. It was resistance the night before. This is my 15-minute chart. And then you're going to see at 9:30 this wick top. Now keep in mind, this is just that opening volatility. You had one big push to the upside, and in that particular case, don't mind just having the order and taking that fill in front of the level on that kind of a liquidity vacuum. When it's a liquidity vacuum, if resistance holds, it is going to plunge, obviously. So we missed it. This line is where I was offering at 49.75. Offering an even number or a round number, an obvious number in that case, probably a little bit lazy. I was trading other stocks at the time thinking I'd just get the fill. I had my stop in place already, so I was locked and loaded to go. I miss it by 2 cents. By the time I realize what has happened, you can see. This is just a single 15-minute candle where you're going all the way up to 49.73 and down to a low at $45. It's real easy to look at something like that and just, you're like, oh, I'm pissed off. I got to have this trade. And then the next day, which is today, obviously, we get another chance at 50. But it's a completely different setup. And the easy thing to do as it stair steps up off of the open, first taking out 48 here, getting up to 49, dipping back down 48.5 and pushing into 50, that's a nice bullish move. It is not a single wick up or a liquidity vacuum. It's legitimate buying coming in, pullbacks, shaking people out, and getting into 50. In that case, I'm not just standing in front of the level. That's not what you want to do. I like the 50 level, I like the short up there, but I can't just stand in front of a moving freight train. Different setup. Even though we had a bit of FOMO from yesterday, I did not want to rush this. I even said that in the live show, don't chase it, don't chase it. And then when we had this initial pullback, you had 2 or 3 tests off of this level at 50, and then there was one big snapback right into 49.50 here. This is where we wanted the consolidation short. Should have been a bit more prepared. I didn't realize we had to pay for locates. I actually tried to get the short here at 80s, and by the time I had paid for it, I missed the entry point. Eventually was able to catch it at 49.60 for a piece of the entry that we liked. I get some out at VWAP. At this particular point, I'm saying to myself, didn't really get everything we wanted. I didn't really get that short close to 50 like we were anticipating, but we got a piece. We'll scalp it to VWAP, and then we'll allow it to either bounce back and give us a reentry point or just simply flush into support. Thankfully enough, patience paid off for us. It was a relatively bullish name compared to the rest of the market. So when there was a small bounce in the market, we did come back in and get our 49.80s. Once again, scalp some out to VWAP and then hold. The one thing about getting a good trade on or picking key target levels is if this can happen to you and you miss the trade, every now and then this will happen to you and you get the fill. Simply luck in either case. I had put that bid in at 40 in front of that 47.50 area much earlier. I'd been sitting there for probably about 5 minutes or so. And then when we plunged to the downside, we happened to get that lucky wick. Now, obviously, you're going to see it off of that support level breakout just before the open. And that's where I anticipate getting some shares in. Where was that consolidation before the buying came in? That's where I expected maybe, I'll throw a bit in there. If I was looking for longs in Coinbase, that's around where I'd be trying to defend it anyways. And we happened to catch the fill. But the most important thing about this trade wasn't the fact that, okay, how do we get in, how do we get out? We understood the level we liked. It was about having the patience to not just jump into it. And jumping in at 49.80, if you give it a 20 extra cents off that 50 level, it would have worked anyways. But just because it would have worked didn't mean that was the way to take this trade. The way I like this setup is to always allow it to start failing the level, have the seller start to take control of the stock, and then look to get into position. Sometimes you miss it. Sometimes you might not get everything else. You might not get that second fill. But I would rather be joining the party and joining the reversal as opposed to trying to make the reversal. Too many times you can get run over doing that. So no FOMO, be patient. The market is going to give you opportunities. It's a matter of you waiting for them to come to you and then executing.
One of those days you had to kind of pick and choose your levels carefully and have a plan. Definitely going into the open this morning, there's a number of different areas of the market that we're moving around, though, in the pre-market. We'll touch on a few of those coming up here. That's a watch list, guys. Grab it every day, free for you, before we come on every single day at 8:30 Eastern. Absolutely free. Use that link in the window there. There's, as I said, a number of different ideas we can kind of touch on this afternoon. The market overall trying here, guys, to get back to the upside, get back to positive on the day, including some of the tech stocks. Hey, it's Friday afternoon and we're positive. Hooray.
Hooray! We're positive. Oh, on the ES, yeah, we're positive. Yeah, what's up, Brendan? Yeah, welcome back to the Power Hour show here. The Power Hour is technically, I guess, an hour away. But hey, man, we are just doing the heavy lifting right now. Sticky note all over the place. AMD, see ya. Look at these shorts we have on right now. AMD, nice little short here at 73. Like, we're just short, out. So good little short there on AMD. We're still holding that one. We averaged into our Amazon short as well. So we've got that now printing in the money a little bit. Li Auto. We still have the same short from the morning, guys. Small position, but we still got it. We're trying to work that to the downside. 36.50. So that's in the money. What's up, Bradley Taylor? Thank you for those nice words. We are killing the game right now. And I mean, whatever, we're just going to keep doing it. Sometimes trading's lucky, right? I mean, Neo right here. Look, I mean, hello. Like this trade for me, we didn't even get our full trade here. We only got half of what we wanted, but still good amount of shares there we took on NIO. Look at this, wait for the pop, bang, right back in right there. So, I mean, sometimes you get lucky to get fills, but hey, you got to be sitting there to get them. That's a 21. You can see it right there on board, 21.25 fill, out. And then we still have one long on the board, and it's AAPL. Look at these trades today. Long down here, 136, bang, out 137.50. This one was bad. Out there, hurt. That one hurt. In again, long again right now as we're trying to take this out. Should have got out there at the top, but I want to hold something long. So Apple's been a good runner for us today as well. So that's basically all of my positions now. The 3 A's, Apple, AMD, Amazon, Li Auto, and NEO. So I feel like I've got the A's and then I've got the Chinese EVs. Other than that, man, we're sit back, relax, not sipping cognac yet, but I have an update. My parents took my kids.
I thought you were going to say that your parents took the cognac. That would have been.
No, yeah, and they might have to have some cognac. So that's good, man.
You're laughing today then.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to find out some patios. We'll go sit on there and enjoy life in lovely Toronto, Ontario. We just took a piece out there on Amazon. That just came back in again. So yeah, here we go again, man. BlockFi, just news here, so Brendan doesn't have to come out here. Says it will be bought by FTX. BlockFi agreed to an option to be acquired by crypto exchange FTX for up to $240 million. So Sam Bankman-Fried coming to the rescue of this whole crypto market.
It up on the chain.
I'm just kind of saying this jokingly. And buying these exchanges on pennies on the dollar. Brendan had something yesterday about BlockFi. The last round was raised at $4 billion. Four Bs. Yeah, so imagine being that venture capitalist there that put money into BlockFi or some organization or whoever it was at $4 billion, and you are now getting bought out for $240 million, the whole company. Oops. So my account now looking a little bit better. So that's good.
If you're having a bad day, just
I don't have
that.
minus 99% on the books yet. But BlockFi, congratulations to anybody that bought lower than that last round. But right now, that looks like that might be done. Brendan will come with a little more information. I can't show you anything because there's no stock.
Yeah, it's not public, so otherwise can't really do much there. But quickly here, I'll go over maybe some of the positions. I do have an NVIDIA short. I am still long Mullen in front of $1, and I probably will be till the close because it's not doing a heck of a lot. And we'll get to Coupang, which looks like it could take out the top. That 15, a big level on Coupang. But Endo here, ENDP. Got to this 60-cent level pretty much as I'm sitting back down. I hadn't paid for locates, unfortunately, but I just did now to get some shorts because this ran double top at 80. They did have the news like a federal jury rules in the company's favor with regards to the antitrust trial, the Opana antitrust trial. But the lower high here at 60, I'm just playing off of this. So you have a huge parabolic move to the upside. We're stalling and consolidating off of the 60 level. You even have a wick top off to 60. So I'm short here, 59, risking like a penny and a half, maybe 2 cents or so. And then just looking to see if we can pull back 55 and then 52, 53, something along those lines for Endo. If there's one thing that I've been sitting in that I'm at least a little bit concerned about, I don't know if we'll talk about Coupang, so I'll get this one out of the way. It's been a good short off 15, but this stock seems like it's destined for the $15 breakout. So I did reload it once here at about 85. And then we'll see if we can actually get this bad boy to come back to the downside. But Coupang's been incredibly strong today. So kudos to Brendan for bringing that one to our attention this morning. Not every day it's worthwhile looking at Coupang, but maybe one of the strongest names in the market.
You said coupon. I'm all about
Coupang. Sorry, my bad.
No, you said it right.
But one of the strongest names that isn't a small cap or that isn't like a penny stock. Coupang having a great and fantastic day. And really, I almost want to check to see when Brendan brought it to our attention because I'm pretty sure you could have had this long in the first 5%. And it's not usually on my quote board, but that's not much of an excuse because this was given to us early.
Coupang gets an upgrade. Got to talk about it, right? Apple, guys, we were talking about in the pre-market this morning on this note. JP Morgan liking Apple yet again. About the third or fourth time in a couple of weeks here. JP Morgan out talking very nicely about Apple, saying they don't really know what all the fuss is about and Apple will be fine. And there's 40% to go to the upside for Apple, if not more.
Yeah, samesies. I believe that too. I mean, I believe Apple has a lot of upside potential to it. Samesies. I mean, that's why I said samesies. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I mean, there's only long ticks here on my account, and without going into the report there on what Apple, Prad's upset because there's some pizza got taken, and he thought he was going to have some pizza there, so he's all
they didn't leave any
moping. No, they didn't leave any. These guys are ruthless, boy, on that one. So proud of it. I told him, go get Super Chicken, send the bill over here. And now he's bitching to Lucas. Okay, all right, so there's Apple right here. All right, so let's just look at the chart quickly on AAPL. This is the daily chart. Look, whatever you think about Apple, it's been pretty consistent down here. I mean, although the last little while has dipped down, we made that $3 trillion company up here at 180, and then after that, it's kind of been straight to the downside. But when I mean straight, there are a lot of up and downs here. So Apple, when you see charts like this, like people want to buy Apple. They want to buy it. I mean, you could see this is a nasty drop here for sure, from 150 all the way down to 132 in about 5 days. That's nasty. But, I mean, it keeps getting bought up. Every single time the market tries to bounce, Apple's there trying to bounce as well. Today, you're down 0.23 on the market. Apple's upside 0.55. So I feel like they want to buy this name, and I like an Apple here. So, hey, I can't disagree, hence the samesies comment. I think we go upside from here on Apple, and, buy any dips on this. I believe it was July 18th. Let me just look that up for you guys quickly right here, when they report. And I think that's going to be a very, very telling tale here. It says somewhere here. Earnings April 28th. Okay, so I don't know if it shows the next one on here, but anyways, I think it's July 18th. I'll find a better website than FinViz for that. But, once they report, I think then you'll be able to see exactly what they're talking about. That's the guide that I'm really interested in. I'm not worried about them making money. Obviously Apple will make money, and they probably will sell just as many phones as they said they would, so on and so forth. So it's about the guide. What are we talking about in China? What's the supply chain looking like? So for me, Apple's along, and I mean, remember how we trade here on the show can be vastly different than our opinion on the stock, because we have to be flat at the end of every single day, right? So on that note, we've been going long on Apple today. Whenever we get reports like that, unfortunately, I got dipped out there when we took down 136. That kind of sucked. But, nice upside moves from now. Up in the money now, $1 on this one. And we can't forget to say happy Canada Day to everybody out there. I tried to go get a coffee at Tim Hortons, which is like attached to our building, and they're closed. So
the Timmy,
yeah, I mean,
I didn't even notice
our Timmy's is closed, but yeah, it sucks. I was just gonna say like Canadian coffee, should be open.
It's probably just that location.
But no, that's all good. Everyone deserves a break. So
I'm trying to figure out how you don't have this wick on your Apple chart, but I do. I guess you cleaned it up.
I do. I have a different. You didn't download the new version, man. I mean, I keep telling you to do that.
Oh, come on. Yeah, okay, anyways, that is the reason. As far as Apple goes, I'm not going to say anything too different about it, except for the simple fact that there is a resistance level I like on Apple up here. I think we talked about it this morning. It never really came into play other than that one little push at the open, and you might have noticed I was sort of looking at something else that I thought was a better opportunity at the time in Coinbase, but you're still going to get a shot at this 138, it looks like. And the key thing for me is that 3,800 on the futures that we've been eyeballing. So as long as, if we're breaking out from there and Apple isn't going through these highs, then I'd be very skeptical of the market breaking through that 3,800 and actually sustaining a bit above. Yesterday in the afternoon, we got to 3,802 on the ES and then absolutely flushed. So if we get up there again, looking like we're failing the break, it might be because Apple is not going to go through. And if that happens, you just have to understand the momentum on the overall market is not following through without Apple, without Tesla, without Microsoft, and a couple of the others. So just highlight to that resistance. It doesn't mean it can't get there, but the ES is not really following through without good old Apple.
Just quickly here, I got to update something because I'm doing some new trades now. New trade alert on AMD, so we just got shorter there. And I don't want to give this one too far. If you guys can see, if I can zoom in a little bit here, I'm debating this right here, 73.75. So I'm putting in the stop right now. If we break above that, then we're going to get out of AMD, and that's what that is. So right now I'm just setting out the trades, making sure I have the right orders there. But we're re-engaging in the short, all the way down. We just took a bid out there at 73.04, and then right before we went over there, when we came back to me and I was talking about AMD, we took another 15 bid. So good for us. AMD's not been a great stock. You can see we got stopped out there on our short, but then re-engaged it. These last ones have been really good to the downside, but we did get hit. We were short, and then we got out when we broke 73.50 live on the show. We should not have done that. I actually forgot that we had a trade out there, which is why we re-engaged the short up until 74, but we're going to be in this one again up till 73.75. So, the next thing is going to be MU, but there it is, Brennan. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Just the market started to go upside there, and we want to make sure that we are short AMD there. And then just because we just talked about Apple right now back to its day high. Like, we should probably get this out, man. 137.60 $7.74, $1 in the money on Apple. All right, forget it. Let's hold it. And the reason why is because we're short AMD. If the market does rip up, at least let's hold some Apple there. Short Neo, short Lee as well. So some nice trades happening for us here. Short Li Auto right there at 37.40, man. You're in the money $1 on that one. But let's go talk about Micron.
Getting pretty close here for positive territory for the NASDAQ. Just reading more on this FTX BlockFi thing. It also includes a $400 million credit line as well that FTX is going to provide to BlockFi going forward. Yeah, Micron trying to go as well back through some of the initial highs that we put in the morning. Still 3% downside though. It was the forecast that was not good for Micron.
That's an understatement. I mean, obviously, like the forecast was ugly. I mean, the guide was like 20% lower. And we talked about Micron being more cyclical, so therefore recession concerns are going to weigh on them a little bit more than some of the other names in the space. And that ends up being the way that it went down here, but even more so than I would have anticipated. We like the short on Micron this morning. However, remembering what happened in Nike is probably the reason. Like I was short in the pre-market in front of that 53 level. We took some more right here when it spiked up to 53.50, right around our resistance area for our stops. And then when it rejected, we took a little bit more in. But I said to myself, if it takes out the high at the open, I'm just going to get out and not have a Nike situation and then try and play it after it tries to break out. And it ends up being stopped out. It fails the high here at 54. But what we do is jump back into the trade. Once it fails through 54, it takes out that pre-market top, fails at the next even area, we then start shorting it again, 53.40s, 53.70s in front of that 54, and then it flushes. I end up covering it. I get trailed out here at 52.25 when it showed some strength at the pre-market low. And that was just a simple case of, the chip names were weak. I was watching, NVIDIA and AMD were going gangbusters to the downside here. And Micron, probably because it already gapped so much and it's not as volatile a stock, was checking up. So we did get out and gave up an extra $1. But speaking of that extra strength, this is what I mean. It's actually all the way back to these tops. So as we grind towards 54, that's that level this morning. Now I'm likely, I know Coupang's coming as well, but sometimes you get these trades. 53, 90, something along those lines, maybe 92s, 93s, something really tight. If we get a big push up, we're now breaking through that 3,800, so I might not like it at all, to be honest with you. If we get up there and start showing any kind of rejection off these highs, I'll look at that 54. But what a huge reversal for Micron. Just in terms of what it's done, it's still down 3% on the day. Just in terms of what it's done here. And just because we're talking about chips, yep, I had NVIDIA just there. NVIDIA was downward trend, much weaker stock. I was shorting the curl, looking like it was, for all intents and purposes, about to take out those lows. But no moss, man. 3,800 goes, break even stop on this. Tighten the stop after it broke the low of the day. I would have given it a little bit more, but once we broke the low, you tighten up the stop. It looks like we are through that 3,800 level. So these longs are going to start to work, I suppose.
Oh, man, that sucks. I had to get back in. So you're going to see a different price for me now on AMD. I actually was just writing it in the chat there. Because this move is getting, we just got positive. You're well extended here. I still want to be short AMD, but I had an out still at that 75. So I didn't mean to get out, but we'll take it back here at 81 almost right away. We got stopped out there, but I forgot to cancel. I had two orders there. Stupid me, I forgot to cancel one of them, so we did get out. Look, maybe I wish I didn't re-short, but we are short now 73.80 here on this name. So watch out here for AMD. I'm short against this 74 right there, 74 area. That's what I want to be short against. That's my fault there. I did get out at 74.75, so that was a hit on that last little bit there, right? But again, AMD, maybe this is pop, maybe this is turning. So if it does, man, that 74 break, we'll have to get out of that one. And then just an update there as well. Li Auto did start to go back up to the upside there and took out that 50 period. But for me, Li Auto right there, if we take out 70, then we're going to get out just to make sure that we capture that 70 cents. So was $1 in the money, but right now AMD is really the most concern for me. We'll take one more area short here, and we're getting ready to be sort of loaded up here. It's been a good day for us. We will give some back, obviously, here if this doesn't hit out for us. But AMD into that 74 area right there. We'll just keep shorting it. We did get out, that mistake on that last. So that's just a last reload there at 50, out at 75, 25 cents worth of a hit. So we need to get this 80 back down to 50 to make money, which is right where the 50 period is. So I like that. I think think for a risk to reward, this is now worth it. Short here at 80, giving it a little bit higher. We'll get another piece in if it goes like 95, and then we'll watch out for that 74, 74.20 or so area on the top. But right now, yep, we're back into that short on AMD. But Apple's still working, man. Apple's taking out the highs. Apple's right back to day's high now, 138. So you want to talk about a strong name, talk about Apple. Don't talk about Bruno.
Not yet, anyways. The market, guys, also S&P, anyways, trying to get back to day highs. 0.5% now back to the upside for the ES. I was just watching Meta here as well. It was struggling a little bit more. Just as Sean was saying that, Apple back to day highs. Meta here can't even clear this last little pivot, I guess, on the intraday time frame after we got that note yesterday suggesting Mr. Zuckerberg is a little bit concerned about what is to come in the rest of the year.
Well, Zuck. Meta's my #1 stock today. So look at these buys we have down here on Meta, man. Look at this respecting that 155. This was during the first show. Boom, boom, boom. Our best out right there, right at VWAP, 157. So $1.50. Obviously, as we touch 159, we wish we were still in it. But then we had the convergence here of VWAP and, I mean, at the time, VWAP and the 50 period. And then as it broke down, we were like, oh, God, we got to get out, which looked like a decent out as it goes all the way back in there. But as you can see here, yeah, it didn't last for a very long time. So we're going to wait to see now what happens here with this. Hopefully a nice little upside move comes through for us. But, you know, we got out on Meta, and now it's starting to go back upside. I like this name. You're still down that 1.62%. So obviously that's not great. But, hey, I like Meta, and I think it works in this environment. So I'm going to be here watching it. And, you know, I don't want to short this top, but if we can come back here to like 157.50, something like that, then I believe we can buy Meta. It's super strong. It was my #1 stock yesterday. It's the #1 stock again today. So let's just keep on watching Meta here. And again, you know, early troubles just kept on tanking, right? That got us in a little bit of trouble, but we were able to buy the bottoms and then took it right back upside. So although there was a little bit of a roller coaster ride today, it turns out to be awesome. So Meta, I definitely like this name. Good trade for me here on META. But I'm a little bit distracted. It looks like Amazon's going to take out 109, which is fine. We got a piece out there. We are making sure that we have an out for Amazon on that 109 break. So we're going to look at that and pass it off over to Neil because Amazon and AMD both going upside.
Yeah, I'm just sort of, I mean, for Meta, I didn't really have anything that I loved. I mean, that 158 level, it felt a little bit loose. I wanted to see it hold 160. That never happened. That could be like 160, actually, I'm looking at it now. I feel like if we don't take out the top in the futures and we see 160, I think I'd be shorting Meta at that price. But I don't know if we can even get there, to be honest with you. But I just wanted to quickly update ENDP before we move on to the Chinese stocks there. So we did take the short in front. I always want to let you guys know what happened. I mean, I told you I'm going to short it and have my stop at 60. So, I mean, in and out, obviously. But I did bungle the reversal. Because once you take this level out, usually I want to try the consolidation long for more upside, right? So we end up getting this wick top, but I keystroke in above 60, actually at like almost at 61. So when I get some shares at 58, I still have an overall 60 price. It doesn't seem like much, but it's a difference like between long at like 58.8 and 60 even. Percentage-wise ends up mattering, right? So you want to be really, really careful when you're executing on these. When you're putting in different price shades to the 10th of a cent, it's really easy to make a keystroke error as opposed to some other stocks. But I'll give this back to 57. And the reason I think it has some room to go, you give it a few extra pennies, is if we hold this breakout and it can actually hold this consolidation on this break, then there's room up to 66 to 70 on a conservative level. So you're talking about a good 4 or 5%. And that's why I want to give the long a little bit more space. But, you know, ENDP, maybe it has a chance to go. It did clear through what I think would be running some stops there at that 60 level, but it hasn't followed through yet. Just a lot of battling going on in this 3-cent range.
Volume as well on that thing today. It's amazing. EV names back in play as well this morning. We were talking about delivery numbers. First day of the month. That means China EV stocks out with delivery numbers. Here we go. 34,422 for XPeng, 14.4% or 25,000 for NIO. It was Li Auto up 63%. This 34 for XPeng was a double. So 63% for Li Auto, 28,687. So nice numbers, record numbers, in fact, again, right across the board for these guys.
both XPeng and I had a different take for Li Auto that ended up being, I guess I should have been more aggressive. But XPeng and NEO, I wanted the pop and fade trade, which is simply you gap up, you've been running to the upside, you get the delivery numbers, and if it doesn't, usually say if it doesn't take the low, there's only one place to go. Well, if it doesn't take out the high, then it should reject. I have nothing that rhymes for that. So in the case of XPeng, it even had that $33 level. When I came and sat down, I had to choose between the three. I just simply looked at the gap up setup for the retracement, and I looked at this 33 level on XPeng, and it was clear as day. You have a very clean resistance level that has already been rejected on the breakout, turn around at 35, and then that's what you get to short in front of if it does a pop. So it pops into 33, it flushes. The mistake was getting out at 31. And the only reason I get out at 31, the market was pretty strong at that point. It kind of felt like we were showing some signs of strength. At that point, I was looking at other stocks where I was shorting tops, and this is looking like it was going to hold at 31, so we do end up covering it. I did also take NEO, but that was more of a scalp trade. Like I shorted NEO and then got a scalp trade, whereas I held on to XPeng. And XPeng breaks $30 here. Congrats if you held on to this one for the long haul, even with the market booming. Like that's the thing, like the market is making a significant bounce. That's how weak these are. But remember, this is a sell the news type situation. Each of these stocks had been on a bit of a run. Look at it reject that 200 period. That's the other thing as well. Li Auto was rejecting the $40 level, but all these nice fades to be had across the board. You could have had any one of those three and it would have worked out for you.
Yeah, I'll take the congrats right there. Let's hit the congrats there because, thanks, because Lee we held on to. So congrats to anybody that did that as well. Li Auto, obviously down now in the money, that's 70 cents. We are getting ready to get taken out here at 70 if it does break there. Looks like we're trying to do that, but I just wanted to trade what I thought would be the weakest name today. So Li Auto's down 4%, NEO's down 2%, and XPEV is down, let's see, 6%. So XPEV would have been the weakest name to trade today for sure on that one. But you could see on the daily, look at this, a few days in a row now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all to the downside there. But we'll look at Li Auto okay, here it is, right back going to break the same thing. And Li Auto, not as much of a direct move down as XPEV. So probably maybe should have looked at XPEV a little more than Li Auto. But at the same time, nice move down in here. If it does break that shelf, then we're going to get out of here. I feel like I've already said this. There's something up with this. I mean, straight move to the upside here from $24 all the way up to 42 in a straight line. A little bit of stop and go here at 30, which doesn't surprise me, and the same thing at 40. So I feel like the next stop down in is going to be $30 for this name. So if you do like XPEV or Lee or any of these names, NEO, I still think there's another leg down, and it could come by the way of news or anything like that. So we'll see what happens here. But again, another delivery day, and all three of the Chinese names are down despite having good deliveries. So take that for what it's worth. We'll just see where we go. But I'm a little skeptical of all of these Chinese auto plays because, like, how are they working so well? And I know that they're pumping. Look, I've seen this on the chat before. Like, I know China's pumping money into their economy and it's so great and everything like that. I just feel like, this does seem a little bit too far, too fast for some of these names. So I question why that move happened. So for me, I'll be short Li Auto here today, and I am short Li Auto. So let's see where it goes from here.
This is a chart, guys, of the 10-year today. Well, this is actually the entire week, but I'll focus on what happened today. This is the low. We got down to 2.78 on the 10-year. Early on today, we're bouncing a little bit back to 2.9. Anyways, this thing has done nothing but go straight down all week long. Frank Caberna from the Small Exchange coming up here in about 10 minutes or so, going to give us his take on why this happened, the correlation between the 2 and the 10-year this week, and why he thinks that could be the best trade coming up next week, the 2 and the 10-year, the relationship between the two. So Frank coming up, guys, in a few minutes.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear
The Tank.
That. Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank. Yeah, I'm sure everyone knows where that's from. Watch that movie if you get a chance. Old school, of course. Good movie on that.
Going streaking.
Yeah, exactly. Don't go streaking after getting. It's KFC. In that movie, I believe. I was going to say, hopefully that's not Brad out there after he gets his super chicken. But
can't believe they ate all the pizza on him. Oh, so someone was asking about LYT, and I had mentioned in the chat at the time it was at VWAP. LYT had pulled back to VWAP. No, not anymore. Now it's broken. It just broke $6 a couple of seconds ago. Support 575. When it made the consolidation at 620, that was The two successful longs I had were 625 and 7. I'll get into this nonsense in a bit. That's why I'm down on the stock. But when it made that break, it had a consolidation here and a dip into 575 that was supported. So in this vacuum, for it to have a chance, it's got to be here or it's got to be $5. Now, it's been great for breakout trades. The 630 gave you to 7. The 7 gave you straight to 750. The second time, 7 gave you nothing, like 15 pennies. But this morning, I was in this one when it was early in the move and trying to break out. I was sort of working it and then scalping off this like little bull flag and scalping some out for a little bit of profit and then working back into it with what I thought would be a $5 stop. I actually didn't put a $5 stop in, and then this was right at 11 o'clock. After the morning show was done, you can imagine I want to get up and I want to go to the can. I did so. My stop went off. And it never broke $5. And I'm pretty sure he even said that. I'm like, yeah, $5 stop here. Give this one some room because I thought there would be room to go to $7. I get stopped out. I come back in. I'm kind of tilted. I probably should have just jumped right back into the trade at 540. I don't have a good reason for not doing so, but it happens all of the time. And then I said in the chat, before you get up from your station, always double check your orders and double check all of your stuff just to be sure. It's a good little habit to get into. But 575 for now seems like it's holding on LYT, although that big of a reversal, especially when 7 was such a gigantic level, and considering where this has sort of come from, it might be done for the day, especially when you have that big of a reversal. This is a name that's had a very healthy bounce already off of those lows, and as you can tell, under a heck of a lot of pressure. I mean, what an unbelievable short that was a couple of days ago, if you could have had it. So LYT, you probably won't see me on the long unless it gets back above VWAP.
LYT, yeah, you know me. Okay, look, just a quick update here on AMD. Like, I don't even know what to do anymore with this stock. Like, it doesn't want to go down. The futures are starting to go up a little bit here. So I am a little bit nervous about this position. So, okay, I was going to say, so I do have a 77 bid for like 2% of my position. I have a 75 bid for another 2%. But then down here at VWAP, at set, well, that's, oh, shoot. VWAP is now 72. Oh, that sucks. I'm down here at 70 with a little bit more of a position to get out. So hopefully we can crank a little bit lower now. But now that I see where VWAP is, man, I don't know. We just got a 75 bid there. It seems like we're definitely wrong on this name. I mean, and I'm fine to say that. I don't think we're wrong. I mean, I don't think we're wrong. I just don't think.
At the top, by the way.
Yeah, I know. And that's what someone said. Micron is at the top of the day. So I am very, very aware of all this, which is why I'm trying to scalp these out. Like, we're only short at 83 here. Like, it sucks to take, like, our average price is 83. So it sucks to take a 75. But, like, honestly, it's not moving. It could be a good sign, though, that it's not moving. Like, I don't think it's necessarily bad that we're sitting here waiting to see what happens with AMD. I think it can go to the downside. But at the same time, it's holding up right now with Micron starting to go back up to the upside. Let's check out on it.
I just got into Micron.
Yeah, and I don't mind. Like I said, I don't mind the shorts here. I feel like the short is fine. It's just, I don't know. I mean, look at NVIDIA here on the 1 minute. It's same thing. It's still cruising near these highs again. But, we're all dipping and diving here a little bit, just like Dodgeball, another great movie if you want to watch that. Watch out for the flying hammers coming at you. But 146.05 there, one of those highs for NVIDIA. So I guess we're all just going to break at the same time. Now those outs don't look so bad after all, right? So let's wait to see. But it looks like it is going to take out that top now of $74. NVIDIA, AMD, we saw that. That's why I wanted to sort of come back to you right away quickly and just say that it doesn't look like it wants to drop down in there. So that's going to be a mistake. Not a mistake, but just a problem there, as it doesn't look like it's going to work out for me here on the AMD shorts. Well.
That's like, Dodgeball is a great movie, by the way.
Yes.
It's older out there. And someone in the chat was like, that's old school calling it the can. When I said I had to get up to go to the can,
yes. Is it
old school? Is it old school? What else are you calling it? We're not
Toilet?
British. I don't call it the loo. No one's calling it the toilet. Is it John? That's older than that.
The shitter?
So the crapper, but that's also old. I don't know. You guys tell me. Sometimes, like, I'm an old man. I don't think I'm that old, but the can. What else do you call it? The loo, the whatever. I don't know. You caught me off guard with that one. But I am in Micron. That's why I sort of mentioned Micron at the high. We said we'd short in front of 54, so I'll take the shot. Kupang is kind of annoying here. It's like, just break the level already. Like, you want to go through 15, so why put us through all of this? It just hangs out. Like, the first time it went to 15, it's like wick top, bam, we're back to VWAP in like 15 minutes. This time, we're just hanging out here at the high for like, this consolidation's been like an hour long for the final 10, 15 cents of it, which is like, it's like a little water torture there through at 15. So it feels like it's going to break. I put this stop in like an hour ago on Coupang. So we'll see what happens. I mean, if it breaks, it breaks. I don't favor it for the reversal, chasing highs up here. I suppose it looks okay, but I'd much rather just sort of stay away from this. As slow as this is grinding and the volume coming down, it feels like it's a bit of a trap if I were to get into that long. So I'm staying away from it. I'm not going to be loving that one at all. AMD, like you're saying, it feels like these semis are all going to take some tops at the same time. But I wanted to go over to another EV name here because we talked about every EV name except for the best one, and that's Tesla. So I was not watching Tesla. You saw those crazy wicks that I had on Apple because I didn't clean up my charts. Well, that doesn't look fake. So either way, Tesla has just put in a pretty convincing bounce off 666, which if you've been following along, has been a pretty decent level on Tesla every now and then. And it looks like this is also grinding higher, but below VWAP, holding 675. And I'm watching as the futures go through the highs, the 3,800, and test toward the morning high. So if you want to get through that morning high, you have yet another name which is holding it down. And if we reverse, you've got a relatively weak name in Tesla, which is just now going green. It's battling green at the 645-ish level. So I just want to make us aware of that. We shouldn't only be looking at the Chinese EV names when talking about the EV space. Tesla was some relative weakness, guys.
I'm excited to hear what Frank has to say there about the 10-year and stuff, because right now the NASDAQ is trying to get back to its sort of pre-market high there right before we went live with you guys here today. No, sorry, that's during the market. I was looking at the time, it was 9:04, but it's Chicago, so an hour back. But there you go, 11,600 right now. That's a level that we're looking at for the NASDAQ. And if I can zoom in a little bit more, oops, there it is on the chart. You can see we are coming into that level one more time up here. So let's see if we could take that out right now. But yeah, I'm interested in that because as you've seen the 10-year there pull back. I mean, we were at huge highs not too long ago. And I remember showing it to you on the station there where we were above 3. So it's interesting now to be back down below that 3. So, or around it. So we're going to hear from Frank on that one. But, you know, with that being said, where's my chart now? There it is. There's the NASDAQ. Come on, come over here. I got to be able to watch the NASDAQ, right? Or else I'm not trading properly. Look at how high, how extended we are here versus the 50 period. So let me just call this one more time. I just had this up for you. But this is now like probably the largest we've been here on the 50 period as we go. So watch out here for the NASDAQ, possibly a pullback. But I'm feeling like if we pull back maybe only until 11,550, we are still in that AMD short, and that's really the big position for me. We are $1.70 in the money on the long for Apple. So here's our Apple trade. As you can see, this one cruising, man. We're long Apple right here, 136.60. It's now into the money, $1.60 on Apple. But Li Auto short, Neo short, AMD short, Apple long, as we've queued up a couple times here. And like I just mentioned, I'm excited to hear what's going on in this next guest. And you guys know him. It's Frank and it's Brendan. Let's go.
All right, back again. Yeah, Frank Caberna, Director of Product Content and Creative over at the Small Exchange in Chicago, back with us on a Friday to wrap up a wild week. Frank, great to see you as always. Wild week, not only that, but I mean, the first half is behind us. This latest quarter is behind us. I mean, the month of June is behind us, pretty negative right across the board. I just actually showed on the show there the chart of the 10-year for this week. Pretty ugly. I mean, we had just a washout this morning or earlier on today. We are getting a bit of a bounce back here, but you wanted to start things off here with a little bit of look at these rates. I mean, to be expected, I guess, coming off of the Fed or the speeches that we had not only last week, but this week again. What is the deal here? Are we trying to hold, or is this something that we should continue to look for more downside action?
Yeah, I think rates are going to be the key here, Brendan. They have been the key to a lot of the stock activity, metals activity, everything across the board for the first half of the year. And I think it's going to be the case again as we enter the second half of the year. And as my boys just made a point there of saying, interesting to see rates falling and stocks not gathering so much steam to the upside. I think that could kick in here at some point, either into the close today or early next week, that if rates continue to fall, some of this downside that we saw in stocks correlating to the upside in rates to start the year could finally jump a little bit of a rally into the NASDAQ and some of those single names. But I do want to kick it off with the 2-year. I know a lot of people like to quote the 10-year, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, Brendan, we got up to 3.5% right before that last Fed rate hike. They hiked 75 basis points. Going into that hike, everyone's saying, oh man, they're going to need to get up to 4% or even higher by the end of 2022. A lot of those projections taken out. And just last week, we were saying, are rates going to get back to 3.5% where they peaked prior to that 75 bip hike? Now, are they going to get back to 3% even? Another 10 to 20 basis points taken out of the yield curve, depending on where you're looking. A decent bounce here going into the close in rates, but now I'm questioning if 3% can even hold by the end of the year. And I know projections are still seeing the Fed hiking by, another 50 basis points, likely at the next FOMC meeting, 50 to 75 basis points, and then maybe another, 50 basis points or so by the end of the year. But at some point, if we continue to see this downside, Brendan, in the treasuries to the tune of 2.5% or 2% even, which given this price action, you could see in the coming weeks here, the Fed might have to slow up because we're inverted in some parts of the curve. And if we go even deeper into some of these inversions, that could cause some chaos for the stock market and other parts of the entire economy here. And speaking of that inversion, I do want to not only highlight the downside here in the 2-year, what's really been interesting to me and what I think is one of the opportunities going forward for the second half of this year is the yield curve. I know if you've seen me before, I sound like a broken record talking about inversions and pairs trades in the yield curve and everything else. But this is really odd to me because you see here in the 10-year to 2-year spread, the TUT spread, if you will, you're looking at the difference between a 10-year interest rate and a 2-year interest rate. And that difference to start the year around 1%, as 2 years rallied, this difference came back to zero. A flat yield curve actually went inverted for a little bit there in the spring, as you can see, breaking through that 0% difference in rates. Now with rates coming off, Brendan, I would have expected this curve spread to be bouncing back. I would have expected 2 years, they rally for the first half of the year, the yield curve goes flat, 2 years come off, we should see some steepening, right? We haven't seen it yet. We're actually still just within about 5 basis points of difference between 2-year debt and 10-year debt. Very, very flat, still toying with an inversion. And I think this is a really, really nice opportunity moving forward because rates are in a little bit of no man's land. But if rates come off, I would expect this curve to normalize a little bit. And even if rates stick higher, this curve has to normalize a little bit. We don't stick to 0% difference or inversion, Brendan, for more than a few months at a time, at least historically, in the data I've seen going back the last 20, 30 years.
These markets are obviously, Frank, everyone knows, forward-looking. So what does this mean overall? I mean, the next CPI reading going to come up here in a couple of weeks in July. If that shows, I don't know, any kind of sign of, inflation even slowing at this point, I mean, some of these could just explode.
Well, that's really interesting that you bring that up because I love to harp on the fact that these futures markets, they are projections, right? And especially when you're talking about interest rates, and we can go back to showing people that 2-year chart just to show how volatile these projections are. And that's where the opportunity is, right? If everything was priced in perfectly what the Fed is going to do, there'd be no opportunity for us to trade around. But as you can see here, we've gone, Brendan, in between the last, call it 3 weeks, since that last FOMC meeting, they've gone from projecting 3.5% in short-term rates to under 3%. And these projections can continue to move here. The Fed everybody keep in mind, the Fed is only at 1.5%. And so if inflation slows by even more, and there are some headwinds against hiking rates, the Fed isn't up to 2% yet. They're not up to 3% yet. They don't have to hike all the way up to where the futures market is projecting. Quite the opposite. We've seen the futures market coming down to where they're currently at. So it'll be really, really interesting, a really nice market for people wanting to take either the other side, that this inflation, we've seen the peak in these fears, we've seen the peak in interest rates, and you want to bet against that. Or if you were waiting for a little bit of a dip to buy in rates, man, you have it with 2s and 10s below 3% here. If you think those inflation fears are going to kick back up and the Fed is going to get beyond 3% by the end of the year, you're getting some great prices to buy rates as well. But I'm super happy that you hit that, Brendan, that these are projections, right? The Fed is still just at 1.5%. They haven't even gotten to 2% yet. And so the volatility here, the price action, making for a ton of opportunities to get on both sides. But yeah, I do want to again point out that 10-year to 2-year trade, at some point it's going to go. And I don't know if it's this month here in July or the fall or next year, but at some point that curve will normalize, and you'll see that inversion, the difference of 5 basis points turn to 100 basis points, a more normal curve. And that opportunity won't come up again for several years likely.
And that's the key here, right? These are not normal conditions that we're seeing, especially in this type of environment. So definitely worth a watch going forward. I wanted to get your thoughts on, back earlier in the week, we had that ECB forum with all of the heads of the central banks speaking, including Fed Chair Powell, who, in my opinion, was using a lot more stronger language than he had over the past couple of times he had appeared on camera when it comes to how they were going to approach this. So it's almost as if, you know, he's doing a pretty good job in talking down this market a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a balance game with these recent Fed chair people, Yellen, Powell, which I don't envy their job at all. Although it would be nice after they get out of that gig, they go on these speaking tours, Brendan, they make millions. It's really nice. But I do not envy the line that they have to toe here, but they're really, really good at it. And that's why I love getting on the other side of these extremes, why historically it's been really profitable to buy rates when they're at zero and everyone's like, oh my gosh, they're going negative. The Fed is really good at balancing language when we're down at zero. They're really good at balancing language when we're up at highs in interest rates as well. And that's why you see me lean into these extremes, is because I'm leaning on that historical data. The fact that when we were up at 3.5%, I showed you and the audience here, we haven't been to these highs since, 2007, 2008, more than a decade. But also, when they see these things get out of line and they see wonkiness in the yield curve, in the stock market and everything else, they don't want to shock anybody. Actually, their primary job is to not shock the economy. And so that's another vote of confidence to go against some of these extremes. And that brings up one of the extremes still left on the board. I'm actually kind of surprised. You've got stocks, bouncing back a little bit. You've got interest rates coming off of their highs. US dollar is just right back at those extremes after a little bit of a head fake. And I was on with you, I believe it was last week, Brendan, and I thought that it was over for this US dollar. I thought they made another run at the highs. And when they came off those highs, that was it. Right back there to end the week. Now, a little bit of reversal going into the weekend, given this morning's price action, but you're still seeing, in the SFX futures, we're still at prices north of 163. We've only been there a handful of times. And when you look at the euro, I want to put the spotlight on that market. We're under $1 and a nickel here to end the weekend. These are lows that we haven't seen since 2002, and quickly approaching that parity that we haven't seen between the euro and the US dollar since 2002. Not only are we approaching that, Brendan, but I do have some odds that we break parity by 2023. By the end of this year, options markets saying about a 22% chance that the euro gets down to $1 here, which will be really, really interesting. Now, you'll remember coming out of Brexit, you see that huge dip in 2015 and 2016 when we toyed around with these levels last. I was in there selling the $1 puts, and I'm probably in there doing the same thing on a week like this because, again, like to go against some of that, use that historical data to go against some of these outliers, some of these extremes. But, I mean, these are some of the highest odds we've seen in Euro USD parity going back the last couple of decades here. The last time we were at $1 per euro was mid 2002. So I don't know if you think we're going to get there or not. I'm betting against it, but the market thinking there's almost a quarter of a chance that we get down there by just the end of this year, the second half of 2022, 22% chance we get down there. What say you, Brendan?
It's interesting in the sense that, we've seen a lot less certainty, I guess, when it comes to the speech coming out of the ECB and coming out of even, the Bank of England. So it makes a little bit more sense, right, that there's not as much strength coming through as far as the euro is concerned. But also have to plan a trip to Europe maybe this summer because that is definitely becoming worthwhile again, outside of plane tickets anyways. Let's talk metals here to wrap things up quickly, Frank, because we've seen some volatility return to some of these markets specifically. I noticed that gold did, as we're saying, some of these currencies catching a bounce. Gold did catch a bounce going into the close here on a Friday afternoon as well. But very negative week. I mean, we're right back into that range again for some of these anyways.
Yeah, I think the move in silver really sneaking up on people, and some of you out there may not have even noticed that we're under $20 in silver for the first time since the pandemic kicked in here. Fresh lows in metals. To your point, bouncing back, and it makes sense that they're bouncing back. Actually, I should have taken out a loan to put some money behind the fact that rates lower this morning and metals getting absolutely hammered. These markets have been moving inversely for the last several months, years even, given that, a lower interest rate environment should boost a little bit of this, flight to quality asset that's non-interest bearing. And so, yeah, you're seeing a bounce back actually in rates and metals, just wonkiness all over the different asset classes here. But an interesting one to point out, I feel a little bit less confident in the long metals position. I've got some short puts in our spree markets there, which combines gold and silver. To your point, gold is actually green on the day, so really becoming a silver move. Similar to that equities idea, Brendan, though, we'll see if rates continue to fall off next week. We've got the FOMC minutes on Wednesday. We've got non-farm on Friday. If some of those data releases work rates down lower, then we should see a little bit of lift in equities and metals, given that all the upside the first half of the year in rates coincided with downside in metals and downside in equities. I would expect a little bit of a reversal. If anything, maybe a little bit of a hedged play. If you're buying rates here, buying some metals with either the spree, or if you want to go to silver, the real beat up precious metal, a little bit of a hedged play in there. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if rates fall down closer to 2.5%. I would expect some more bounce from stocks and the metals here that, are pretty beat up.
A lot more to come. Obviously, heading into July, we get again the next CPI reading. We get the next FOMC meeting coming up in a couple of weeks here. So plenty of action to come as always. Frank, have a wonderful 4th of July. Enjoy your long weekend. We will speak again next week.
Thanks so much, Brendan.
I think one thing to consider always that silver is going down and it's been pretty weak, but at least when you invest in it, you have the utility of if werewolves become a thing, then you have an excellent weapon. Vampires, right? Like that's just an investment that you got to make just in case the worst happens there, and then you're good to go. So I got my silver bullets ready. We're saying actually that trade has been killing people, and it's just. You think that maybe you're going to get that safe haven and whatnot, and it's really it's been breaking a lot of backs. And speaking of breaking backs, the shorts right now, like Micron's been okay. I actually got a first leg out, so I shouldn't complain about it on 54. But I'm showing you guys the ES. This is today's high on the ES, 38.17. We just ticked above that, but remember, the double top from yesterday is about 5 points higher. So you might have one of those fail break situations. I know I said 3,800, and we had that failure at 3,800 yesterday, which was pretty epic going into the close. But now you have a chance for the fail at the top. And the first thing I went over to was Meta, if it's below 160, which it was. I should say. And it had this little curl here off 159.60, so I grabbed a couple times in short. I've scalped some out because this market looks strong. But if we are going to pull back from that double top, I think I've got an equity that might make some sense. It's below a resistance level. Micron went all the way, all the way up. It barely missed 54, like 53.90 I think we got to. I grabbed the 80s here. I took some out at 1-to-1, risk to reward, a little better than that actually, down at 60. And then we're going to see if we can get some more shares off in 53. I did not mention this, and apologies. I am still in Mullen. Maybe I did say it, but I'm getting back on the offer. This is now really barcoding, like what it was doing in the afternoon the other day. But it's been essentially, since it broke $1, it's been free money. It hasn't retested a box, so we're just long evens, long 01s, and some 02s, and then just sort of holding out that it goes back to 110. It was a short this morning below $1 at 98, and then I was like, if it breaks this monster buyer all pre-market at 95, I'm like, it's headed to 90. I did reload a short, which was probably a mistake here. I didn't need to do that. Took an unnecessary hit, shorting it from 98 into $1, but then you just reverse it once it goes to $1. Very simplistic trading around that dollar level on these penny stocks, right? Try not to get too complicated about it. I just go short in front of that dollar, and then if it shows me strength, I just buy in front of the dollar with the stop right below. Easy peasy. It's kind of easy to be disciplined with something like that, because if you can't figure out where your stop is at $1 on a penny stock, then you shouldn't be trading it.
Thank you so much, Frank. Thanks, Neil, for all that as well. I like that silver thing. I'm definitely going to. My father-in-law gave my kids silver coins. So we have a couple of those in the house right now. So he was always like, so I'll just throw those at the vampires and stuff like that. Anyways, I did want to go over one thing here, and don't lose sight of what we're doing here. It's a long weekend. It's already started here in Canada. You guys or anybody that's happy 4th to everybody, as we're not going to be on Monday. So I just wanted to remind everybody that when you're seeing, and I'm sure I could speak for Neil here as well, but these are not max positions or anything
long
like
weekend.
that.
No.
Right now, a lot of the traders here that would maybe be, looking at some of these names and stuff like that. I don't know if you can there's even behind us now, because it's Canada Day, there's 5 traders, and I think they're all gone now. So there's 3 or 4. I see Luca sitting there. I don't even know where Pratt is. But all these guys here behind us, taking breaks, relaxing. There may be some volume coming through at, what did he say?
Sharif left early.
Sharif,
they all left early.
Sharif, oh God. So the bodyguard's not here, so if you want to come in as per Tony, you just walk in here. Anyways, the idea there is, AMD's right back to this level.
Let's go. Come on. Let's go.
Yeah, we're going to try to get to the downside. Oh, okay, cancel that. All right, out on AMD right there. We did get out on that breakthrough 74, but we did reshort this, and we're taking some money back in now on AMD. And then a quick little update on Apple, and I'm going to finish what I talked about in a second. Apple breaking through 138. We're going to get out of that one as well, as you're back down to the 50 period moving average now on that one. So we'll take $1.50 on Apple if it breaks. We are now 40 cents in the money on AMD as that's coming back in for us. So all is well on the AMD front. And what I was saying about the volumes, that's what it was. Hello, volumes. Apple breaks, so we're out of Apple right there. So a good, we'll go money because Apple was a big trade for us there. We were able to hold it all the way for that $1.50 off some of these bottoms. So that was good there. We got nervous. We had so many shares, we got nervous. We started getting out for flat and even some 10-cent hits there. But you hold a little bit and make up for it at the end of the day there. And AMD is starting to crank lower as well. So that's good, right down to VWAP. I'm not going to get out of this one. You're breaking on the 50 period. Let's see if AMD can remain weak. I don't know. Are you still in Micron?
I'm still in Micron.
Okay, good.
I'm actually on the bid
Micron
here, trying to get a little bit more out.
Okay, so that's good. But what I was getting at there again was just, I was a little bit bears versus bulls. Frank is great, but I always want to get back on and discuss my position. So you are right about that bears versus bulls. Good call on that. But long story short, volumes. So, take the moves when they're there. That's why we're starting to get out a little bit. We still have 60% of the AMD trade on, as it's now 50 cents. Why couldn't this happen when I just had more shares? But that's always the case. And that's what I'm talking about going into this weekend. Just be light on everything. Hopefully you can enjoy the weekend, but don't ruin everything by putting on a big trade that doesn't work out.
Exactly. You want to make sure that you are feeding yourself. And I'm only hitting that one because the winner chicken dinner makes sense, because I had Subway because I felt like being a little bit, we usually get a catered lunch, and today obviously Canadian holiday, so we don't get it. So I got Subway, I wanted to be a little bit healthy, and then Sean gets this delicious looking chicken sandwich that I had to just sit here.
Super chicken.
Like, it was killing me, man. I'm like, it was so good. So the winner chicken dinner just got some out on Meta, like Sean said. Scalp these positions. Yes, we rejected that double top, but it's still a pretty strong bullish move to end this day here. So both Micron and MU, I just took some. Oh, wait a minute. No, I didn't get to fill yet on Micron. Kind of on the bid here on Micron. I'll slide it up a little bit. Pay yourself at this particular time, because I kind of feel like you don't want to get caught where you were in the money on this pullback and then you took absolutely nothing out. Next thing you know, we're running back to the high at 350 or 330 or whenever it potentially happens, and then you're kicking yourself. But I did want to check in on one name, and I thank you guys for bringing this one to my attention. I was hoping to get this on this little dip that we had, but a bunch of you were saying, well, at least one person said, look at Alibaba. And two reasons. I mean, A, look at that unbelievable ball. Look at this. It just goes right up 113 to 116.5, right back to the low, and says, oh, excuse me, we're just going to hold the low of the day here, and we're going to go right back to top side. So relatively strong name. Looks pretty good to me. Those recoveries are pretty bullish. When I see what's going on, like in some of the other Chinese names, and compare it to this looks very strong, because it already made a wipeout below that 113 level and then consolidate above, break out, hold it as support. Love that setup for longs. Maybe next week we'll see where it opens up. I can't guarantee where. If we gap down below 113, everything I say is meaningless at this point. But if we're holding these levels, this looks like a good support at 113. For now, because it's the afternoon, I'll support VWAP in 115 and try and get a little bit of a dip buy if it even comes in there for Alibaba. But that's a good-looking strong name there. Just to check back in on Coupang for morbid curiosity, because there's always the chance. Oh yeah, it happened. I was about to say there's always the chance that I made the top wick and then my fill would be like that's the high of the day. So I can say I bought the top on Coupang. Coupang was getting out of a short, but it does eventually pull back a little bit. Not doing a heck of a lot. But that's why I was saying don't take the breakout at that 15 level, no matter how good it looks. Like as slowly as it was grinding up, I suppose I could have moved the stop a couple of cents and that would have made some sense. But too late for that. I just want to trade things that are moving at this point. And it's not an excuse for giving up on it, but you want to trade where the opportunities are. Going into, like we said, a long weekend, you can expect that volume will not be as big. So if something is barcoding, it better be a really simplistic trade. Otherwise, it might be wasting your time and just not worth the effort. There's always an opportunity cost to the trades that you make. And checking back in on Tesla, because this is the other one I wanted to watch. I have a lot of dark pool wicks on my charts this afternoon. It's like more than normal. It's kind of crazy. It did not break that 675, still holding below VWAP. So relative weakness, despite the fact the market just tested the high, Tesla still holding underneath. See, the big names don't go. It's going to be hard for the futures to get up there. That's why I like shorting some of these other names at the highs, anticipating we would not take out yesterday's top on the ES. If we do, then I don't like these shorts anymore.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think we're thinking the same way here as we hold on to our AMD short and we hold on to our NEO short and we get out of our Apple long. So I just, the market's been a good one today, up 0.27. It's really rebounded here in this afternoon. It was super, super strong to the upside. So right now you are holding above the 50 period. So I feel like the longs are in charge now. So yeah, we are still 30 cents in the money on the short on AMD, but we will not reload that at all. If it comes back up here to 74.25, we will get out of this name. So, that's that. I mean, maybe an average in, but again, I'm not really respecting any of these levels just because I don't feel like there's a need to. I don't think it's going to hold. I don't think there's enough volume, enough people looking at all this right now. So maybe if we come back into 74.10, let's try that. Let's try a little reload there at 74.10. We'll put it out, and then this is good for me because our out's going to be right here, 74.25, which is virtually the high of the day on AMD. I mean, you had all this nonsense earlier, but I don't want to deal with 75 wicks. Like I said, it's not worth it. We had one of our best days of the year yesterday, and today we're up. We're up actually pretty good, but we're only up like. Let me do the math. We're up like 25% of what we were yesterday. So this just give you an idea of how good yesterday was. But we're still up today, obviously, and we're not going to give that back. So I think I've made that pretty clear on what kind of strategies we're doing now into the close. So we'll watch out for AMD. I like that meta short. Obviously, I don't have it, so I can't do much about that. Let's look at Revlon right now, another name that's been obviously moving around this last week and last couple weeks there, and today it's kind of quiet. Did have a nice move up to $6, faded out to 535 right there, 540 as a top. So you could look at that for Revlon, but again, a name that I don't expect any volume to come into at this time. Who's trading? So let's look at AMC and see if anybody's trading this name. And again, pretty light on the volume here on the downside. Not much popping there for volume-wise. And AMC just continues its move down here this afternoon. And it's not even a violent move. That's 1360. Let's have a look. Do we have any ins here for AMC? That's 1325 back in there. Nah. I just wanted to look to see if there was anything going on. I saw AMC earlier kind of go nuts this morning, up $1 straight off the open. Faded back in. So there are some key levels for AMC that I think we can continue to watch out for, and that's just right into here, 1150-ish, 12, like into this area where there's been support. We've dipped down to 10 before. That's been the ultimate bottom during this move, but I really feel like you have this area down here, $11, $12 is where I want to buy it. So until we get back to those levels, I feel like we just sort of hold on tight here for that. What is so?
Here comes the top. No, just the ES is getting up there.
Yep.
Yeah, so by the way, the other thing happening, the NASDAQ, 11,600. We just barely wicked above that, 11,621 on the NASDAQ futures there. That's the top from the morning high. So we can actually break the ES high without actually getting through the morning high on the NASDAQ for what it's worth. Someone asked a question in the chat, like, does the NASDAQ lead the ES? It kind of depends on what market. Every day is kind of different. Each week can be even different as well. Each quarter is going to be different depending on what sectors are leading that particular point of time. So there's no one answer fits all. I wish there was, but I couldn't tell you, no, the NASDAQ's leading the ES. Sometimes one is leading, sometimes it's going to be the other. You just kind of have to have a quick look today. Like the reason I keep talking about the ES, it's up almost a full percent. It's taking out the high. The NASDAQ's lagging a bit because, the chips have been kind of struggling. So I'll just go with that. That's why I've been talking about the ES. But CLVS, you guys have been talking about this one. Good. This is something that's actually showing some signs of movement. I don't love the volume, but you're probably not going to love the volume on a lot of these names going into the close. The question needs to be, is it doing any kind of a volume spike as it tries to break the high? So it just tried to put in a nice little break at 230, consolidated. There's another one coming here. I mean, there might be a risk to reward trade in late. This is so much different. Like if you're long off the $2 break, there's a big difference between holding that or getting the long at a consolidation at 15 and where do you get out some? Yeah, sure, you're maybe anticipating a break here to hold some for the high of the day. That's much different than entering a trade. Like if I say that's reasonable if you have these longs to try to hold for the high of the day and put a trail in at 230, that's much different than getting in here and putting a stop at 230 because one, you probably have already taken some profit and are just letting it ride as an overall strategy. And the other one, you're just entering a trade that you don't have to be in right now. Now, I don't mind this. I'd rather see it break out from here, consolidate, break on big volume, and then try and take apart that little tight consolidation break. I don't love when I see 250 as a top that gets rejected, and then I pull up the daily chart, and then I see, 200 period moving average, there's that high, because that means there's going to be sellers at 250. That's why I'd say take some profit on CLVS. But hey, man, this is a decent chance for a scalp break. If we do see 250 rapidly before, say, 340, I'll try to get 51s or 52s and take it to 60s, maybe 65s. That sets up pretty nicely. But as far as getting into it this high, it's not that good of a setup because of that overhead resistance at that 250 level.
All right, new trade alert right there. Yeah, and all this stuff makes perfect sense to me. And that's why I'm like looking at some of these resistance levels, looking at the futures, seeing what we're doing, understanding that there's light volume today, and everything like that. So with that being said, we're going to short Apple against that day's high just to see, does the market have enough juice in it right now to go back to the day's high? I mean, it possibly could. If it does, then we will get stopped out on all of our trades. So let's just see if it has the juice. I'm going to say no, but the trend is your friend. And we always say, do not trade against the trend, right? So that's going to be something there to look at for sure for me. And, we could easily break it. And if we do, then we are going to get out. So right there, that's the S&P. Sorry, that's the NASDAQ against Apple. So there goes Apple. We did short it. Not very, very highly up there, though. 130, or sorry, what's my price? 138.30 there on Apple. So we'll short that one against this 60. If we can get honestly 20, that was my out off that long there. So that was good. As you can see, if you're joining us for the first time, anytime that we have a purple tick on board there, that's going to mean a short. So SS, so short sell. So now I'm going to put that bid. Where is that bid right there? It is 12s or 13s. So we're going to go down to the downside there, put a bid around that level, see if we could take 20% out at the 50 period and then hold out for lower lows, obviously. So that's going to be a little look for me there. Into Apple, new position for that short against that high. Let's see if it works. Crypto today. Let's just do a little look at crypto. I wanted to look at Coinbase. Remember we had BlockFi. That BlockFi news again came through, and that was that Sam Bankman-Fried's going to try to take those, I guess, option to take those guys out for $240 million plus. I believe there was that $400 revolving line of credit or something that was going to be in there. My CoinGecko there is not working. Log in. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know. Okay, so I can't really show it to you all, but I can show you what's happening exactly with Bitcoin. And here it is right here. Let's go to a 1-minute chart just to see what's been happening. 19.5 down to 19.3. Pretty quiet here for BTC, as you can see here, moving down into that $19,000 level. We've absorbed that today. Let's go a little broader than this 5-minute chart. 19,000. Like we've been saying here, let's go to a little more than that. Let's go to an hourly. This is a 2-hour, but you need to break that 18. And I hate to say it because I don't want that to happen at all, but I really think that there's going to be one more test lower there. It was only back here June 18th where we touched that 17.6. I feel like there's going to be one more test there. And then obviously I don't need to tell you guys, but 22,000 going to be key on the upside for Coinbase, for cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin there. So, it's been pretty easy the last little while, just 22,000 down to 18 back and forth. So you're making this frown shape. As we had Michael Noss come out, you'd rather see it the other way to pick up those bids. But for right now, there's the frown. I think he needs to complete the frown down there at 18,000 one more time. And then I believe that's your go spot. So if you want to take a long in Bitcoin and you want to put in some serious cash, I think you can wait for it to get down to 18 and then maybe use 17.5 as your basement. So that's a little call there. And you could use the same thing for Coinbase. I don't know, you had it earlier, but you need to short this thing and pay for shorts today. And as you can see, it hasn't done anything really, but on a daily chart, Coinbase is an absolute destruction to the downside. So it's been really taken to the woodshed. And it doesn't really seem to get too much relief. You had a monster move from 40 back to 80. And even when that was happening, I was like, huh? I didn't even understand that move, but there's a nice move back into 40 again. So, hey, if you think that you're getting close to that bottom again and you want to use 40, maybe not a bad opportunity there if you were bullish on crypto coming through. But there it is, man. Let's go hit this. I don't know why did it hit the slap shot? Actually, the Blue Jays, I know you were saying that your family's there.
Oh, the game's
they're starting right now. So let's go Blue Jays. And we'll start to hit a little bit of home runs here for Apple. And that's a good little trade right down in there. We parked our order. We told you where we were sitting, 138.14. And that's what we got. So we just got a little move down.
Delayed start.
Delayed start. Oh, it's raining? Do they have the roof open?
We got the dome. It's a dome. How is there a delayed start in the Jays game?
It's delayed start because it's Canada Day.
Oh, it's Canada Day. My bad. Oh, by the way, look, and this is not me saying I'd rather be anywhere else but trading, but my wife and daughter are at the Blue Jays game on Canada Day. I'm a season ticket holder. I love my Blue Jays, but we're here for you guys right now. We could take an early long weekend. I'm going camping, but we're here. All we ever ask, hit the like, hit the subscribe. It's a free show. It will always be a free show. Going to show you things like this. on CLVS. I'm not trading CLVS yet. I mean, I might, but I like that 250. But on the offer, 180,000 shares. This just showed up here on level 2, guys. Someone just parked. Come to my chart. Can you do it? Oh, it's there. It's okay.
This can go. There it is.
There we go. So here's this order, 180,000 shares. They just parked this order at 238 about 30 seconds, maybe a minute or so ago, and starting to move it down. Now this happened right after it tried, like it's been trying to stair step to the upside. The second it saw 39, like this 240, 239, this little stair step down from earlier in the day, this person parked the order there. So a lot of times you might see this drive it down a little bit. What this might give you an opportunity to do, in the event that they walk the order down, meaning if we break, say, 35 and get down here into the low 30s, they move the order from 38 down to 34 or 33, let's just say, and then it takes it all the way down to the 30s, suddenly maybe they catch a fill, and then you can get along that way and play it back up to 40s and 50s. Much different entry point because you're essentially playing a little pressure, driving the stock down on a low volume day, and then you can buy the long. Maybe they're fake and they pull the order, or maybe they take the fill and you play the scalp trade. So I'll be watching that for a possible different type of trade. I would normally have not traded this until it got to 250, but now it's getting to pique my interest, guys. So just a little thing. Sometimes you read the tape. Sometimes the level 2 is going to give you some notions. On a day like today, where the volumes are lower, you might see like something like that be more effective at moving the stock around. Now, obviously, that shouldn't be the case, that it's an order that doesn't intend on getting filled, because technically that is illegal. It is illegal. But you see it from time to time. That looks legit to me, because the stock has done 50 million. So 180,000 shares, you probably have an actual seller at that particular price trying to take some profit.
CLVS has been going crazy for a bit of time there, but we're going to go like this because it's one of my favorite graphics right there, spitting out some cash, because look what AMD's doing, man. Darn it. Like, we got taken out there. We reloaded it, which was great for us. The double reload back in, and now it's starting to come back in. But darn, getting out there at 74.10, not great. Should have given a little bit more room. But hey, can't predict everything. And there it is, now starting to go back down. We still have 40% of this trade. So out a couple times here, but still have actually a little bit less than 40%, 30% of that trade. I forgot that we got doubled up there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
There we go.
Here we go. A nice little move downside here for AMD. Let's go. Let's get excited. Now the market's starting to break downside. So like I said, man, we take that popcorn fill on Apple to see if something's going to happen. Let's now see if Apple can get back down to sort of this 138 level. We're going to put a bid right there right now. I mean, again, you never know where you're going to get filled. So we'll put it down there at 138.05, 04 randomly again, just another random price. We'll see if it can come back out. And again, VWAP is right there. We've already taken it out. VWAP's all the way down there. Sorry, the 50 period is right where we're at right now. We just touched down to, I didn't even have a bid, and that's silly of me. We just touched down to 05, actually. Oh, man, that sucked. Hopefully that can spike one more time back down to the downside, and we'll take out another 30 cents or so on Apple. Come on, actually, I'm short at 30. It'll be 30 cents on Apple if it can come back down. We'll take that. We've only taken 15 cents the first time because we got out at 14 there, so 16 cents. Hopefully that can come in. But AMD is the one that's moving now. Let's go. Look at AMD. AMD just cracked lower. I don't know why that just happened, but I'm going to put another bid down there at 40. If that does that one more time, I have to get it. I mean, that's too much of a, like, that just, what happened there? Look at this sell candle. Like, sometimes, can you go to the full screen there, Lucas, if you can? Let me see if I blow it up, it will look even worse. Let me just zoom this back up there so I can show you. Look at this candle here. Look at this volume candle that just came in on that huge spike there, red for AMD, probably the biggest one all day. And it just made a bottom at 37 off that spike. So I don't know what that was all about, but someone just said, forget about it. I'm out of my AMD position, I guess. Or they tried to force this thing down and it didn't work. But I don't know. We should have taken that out. We don't have a wick down there. We don't have an out down there. Nice move down to the downside there for AMD. Wow. What was that all about?
Yeah, that was a little extreme.
Oh, man, darn. Sometimes that's why you got to have orders.
And also remember, like, so I looked over. The first thing I did is look over at Micron. Did something happen like that in another name? No, it didn't even budge. So that's
I should be able to get it right now.
That's not normal. So some extra weakness over there in AMD. Brendo?
Yeah, interesting, similar type of move, not as big, on NVIDIA to the downside. The register just saying, guys, this was about 10 minutes ago or so, but the register just saying that Meta is still looking for 5 times as many GPUs as they currently have to combat TikTok. So Meta saying that about GPUs, which are supplied obviously by NVIDIA, but NVIDIA getting that same kind of downtick on decent volume.
Yeah, and so going back to Meta just quickly here, like it's not really rolling over as much as I would like. And it's the same thing with Micron. When I see that spike down in both, I was shorting NVIDIA earlier and went over to Micron because it was at that 54 level. But both of these names not really following through. Like we got that pullback on the futures. We were able to, like we're sort of saying, like we're able to, it gets through that S&P 500, gets through the morning high, and then put in a couple of failures up at the top from yesterday's top. So I just want to see if we can actually follow through. But I've got a couple here that give a little bit more concern because they just did not fall the same way we saw AMD. Got to be cognizant of that. Alibaba, I was just trying to catch some bids on Baba. I was going to wait for VWAP in there, and then I sort of saw. I looked at this level, 155, 115.50. We had a bounce there one time. It just bounced off there again, and the futures are coiling up. I want some exposure to a long position. I mean, that isn't Mullen. Like that doesn't count, really. I actually just took more shares out at 5 because it's not going anywhere. So it doesn't really count. I want something that has a chance to really go up into these highs. Now, CLVS, I'm still monitoring that name. But I feel Baba, even if it's just off this 115.50, I'll try and get into this party because it has been relatively strong. CLVS, that's what I was trying to chew through just now. Not doing a heck of a lot. That order is not budging, so I think it's real. Look, either that gets filled and we run higher, or it drives it down. There's no trade to be had as long as this guy's sitting on the offer. Unfortunately, it's kind of a bit of a nothing burger. I mean, it is a nothing burger. Tesla is a even bigger nothing burger. Like, you get a spike like that down in a major name and the market reversing off of a high, I usually would expect a weak name like Tesla, relatively weak name like Tesla, I should say, to have made some kind of a move down. It's just gone sideways, so Tesla is no longer on my radar. We break through the high of the day in the markets, pull a reversal, and Tesla goes nowhere? Like, forget about it. You can't trade something like that. You're just going to have to walk away from it. It's not going to be worth it. Amazon might be. These wicks are annoying. It just tested 110 up top here, 109.62, and then it made a decent pullback. Pull back about 70, 80 cents back into 109 even. So it looks like this one could be good off that 110 level. But you got to start distinguishing between what's worth it and what's not. Tesla isn't. Amazon looks like it is.
Man, I'm exhausted here right now. I know, like, what is going on with this time? I mean, hopefully this goes on a little bit more here. The market, I mean, we're trying to pull teeth a little bit here, but I feel like it's been a good one. Look at AMD. We actually got that fill down there at 40. So for me, that was a good one, man. I mean, if we could take 80 cents on AMD, we should do that at this time of day. So we will do that. And there it is, an homage to Valeria as Superman. Is in the building one more time, but Valeria is not. So, okay, fix that. There we go. So just shout out to Valeria if you're watching. What's up? But Apple, okay, just looking around for some more ideas. NIO right now is just barcoding. Should have probably taken that fill again at 25, but honestly, I just don't really see the reason to sort of dig into anything here. I'm happy with the 2 shorts that I have. Our Apple long got taken out. We already know that at that 138. So now we are short Apple at 138.30. So that one should be a good one. And here comes NIO. If NIO takes out this 25, we're going to be gone on that one. So that's where we're short. Definitely cashed in. It was the only trade we made today on NIO, as you can see here. We waited for it to come back up in the middle of the day. Found a decent level. I mean, that was 130. Hit it, then quit it. And now we literally have, I think it's 5% left of this name. So when we got back down into 21, like that was a no-brainer for us. You could see double the outs down there as it came in. We were a little bit sad when it went down to 95. But I mean, some of these moves, like that looks like, oh my God, you missed something, but that's only 10 cents. So when you look at this chart, it's like, you know, we did pretty good on that. So let's wait to see what happens now with NIO trying to go back up to the upside. AMD, we're basically out, so I'm not worried. And then I do have a reload spot coming here on Apple. I'm going to take a 45 short, which is right here. So against that 60 level, maybe Apple goes, maybe it doesn't. We'll take a short at 45 in case that does go back up. But we've already cashed out twice there on that 50 period. So those were both 15-cent takes. This trade really can't go against us now. Even if we get out at 60, it'll be basically a flat trade. We'll last a little bit on that. But hey, into this, I don't know what I see LYT's breaking down there as per Brendo, so we can go over there and have a quick look at LYT. What was the story with this? Like, this was $80 or something a couple days ago.
You know, I tried, I'm not sure.
No, sorry, not $80, $50 a couple days ago.
Distinction without a difference.
Yeah, and then like, boom. So I'm guessing there was an IPO that came, very, very low floater. I think this is like a 4 million share float, if I remember from that day or something, Brendan. But 47 all the way down to $7 there on some kind of a collapse. And then right now starting to get going again here as LYT back down to 550. Without knowing much about this, very, very hard to trade. I just don't think that we want to be in like, if this is a meme stock now because it's only $5, it's kind of like, is there going to be enough volume coming in to really trade this thing properly? So I'm going to stay away from this. We're now 70 cents in the money on our AMD trade, and this might be the best one. Looking out for, honestly, a 73 bit. If we can get that, we'll finish out our day, then hey, man, it's been a good one here today. We're almost at our highest spot. The problem was getting stopped out there on AMD, but hey, we're going to hold out for it, see where we can go from here. It's been a really great day.
Yeah, I just covered my meta. Obviously, I was just showing you guys how it wasn't following through. So if it's not following through when the market pulls that reversal, I don't think it's as relatively weak as I would like. And I was playing it off these highs, but I did like the 160 level. So I did get out of it. If it tests 160, I try to re-enter the trade with a tighter stop and maybe a better entry price. So I'll hang on to Micron because that seems absolutely fine. And I still like the notion of Amazon that we'll take a shot there. LYT, I just think it's done. I'm sort of saying that I don't think it'll hold support. Maybe $5. Like $5, maybe there's a scalp trade there or something along those lines. I feel like that's your only chance. But CLVS, that's the other one that we wanted to watch. Oh, there's the break.
It just broke. Yeah, I went long there on the break.
Seriously? Like, whatever.
So
I'll just take 52s. I should have got 51s. I can still get 51s.
Yeah. So I'm long here on Clovis. I mean, I don't know what's been going on with this name. The funny thing about Clovis Oncology here is like, this was 60 cents like days ago. So what just happened there? Oh, NEO went upside. Okay, so we got out of NEO as the market's starting to bump back up a little bit. But here goes Clovis again, a nice move up here on the daily chart, right back into these levels. So, I mean, I don't expect an explosive move here. We've already been to 250 before, but it does have the opportunity and the capabilities to go back to $3. So again, I believe there was something here about one of their studies got through, which is why you had some nice volume spikes there. But let's just check floatchecker.com here and just to see. Good morning. Thank you for Flow Checker. Okay. Where do I put there? It is here. CLVS, just to check. I mean, there has to be a short interest on this name. Yeah, 30%. So 30%, this is not a float issue. There's 141 million shares, almost all of them available to trade there. So you could see 30% short could be the case. But there are so many stocks that have a 30% short float. So hard to judge it exactly. But there goes CLVS right now to the upside. And now it wants to stop. So what is that high? 60? Nah, not even.
Instead of taking this break, which I mean, I like the break, and we sort of said that before. But when that big size was on the offer at 30, I think I said 38. It probably was just a better trade to just hit that offer when it broke. Because look what happened when it filled that order and then ran right to the high on a single candle. This is a 3-minute chart, not a 1-minute, by the way. So it filled that order and then goes right to the high. That's a better trade than the breakout. But I said I'd take the break, so here we are. It doesn't even give you much of a move into that 60 level. And that's the thing, like it changes the litmus a little bit. That break, whether you grind into it, consolidate, and then maybe some people are confident shorting it. I don't think people had time to get into shorts in front of that 250. So you're not really running you're not running as many stops in that situation, unfortunately. But either way, if you took that 180,000 share order when it went, great. Otherwise, you can be late a little bit here. BABA's continuing to run. That looks pretty solid. I never got the dip, so I kind of canceled my order at this point. We're back toward this little triple top from the afternoon. So catching it at 150.50 or down around that level, not as good of a trade at 332 when imbalances are in 15 minutes or so. So I'm no longer on that bid. I will take a shot at Amazon if we get up to that 110 area, but it's not there. So about 40 or 50 cents away from an entry point in Amazon. I'll hold on to Micron because that short looks like it's still good. Some weakness in the chips, obviously, as Sean was mentioning there. So any of these trades, when 350 hits or in front of the imbalances, I will have trailing stops on pretty much everything just to make sure that if it goes the wrong way, I'll get out pretty much instantly. And if it's in the money, it allows you to let it ride for that last little push into the close. But I'll always have a trailing stop. Whether it's my original stop at the high or I'll tighten it up, like I'll go from a stop at 54 on Micron. If it's still in the money, I'll probably tighten it up to like 70 or 75. Now CLVS goes, and even if CLVS works out here, I probably still should have just hit that order when it was there at that, that 180,000. I'm kind of kicking myself for not doing that. Kind of low-hanging fruit this late in the day.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm going to get something out at 60 if it can, and then we'll wait for higher on that one. See if we can go to $7. See if we can go into the 70s, and then the next level would be $3 at that level. Yeah, so that's close. Okay, come on, Clovis. I'm at 60 here. If we could take that out, that would be nice. I did look for a reload down here if we came back into 40, but that didn't happen, which is good. So let's see how high we can fly now on CLVS. I feel like it wants at least another level. There it is. Give me that 60 right now. We've been sitting there on a gateway. There it is. Did we get anything? Oh, yeah, we did. Okay, so a couple there. Yep, we got it. There it goes, breaking now through, so 10 cents in the money. So we'll do a little bit of a backflip now. And like we had mentioned, you want to have trades on that are active, right? And so there's Clovis, a nice move to the upside. Thank you to the chat for that one. Definitely helping out the net right now to the upside. And that's why, you know, my eyes are always on this chat. So, one thing I want to talk about before, now that Clovis just went up, we got out of a third of that. They're at 67 cents. We'll take it for now. We'll wait for a little bit higher. My next offer, like I said, is at 70. So if it goes, this is, hey, what's up, Derek Spainhauer? Obviously, you're a member, so you've been watching us for a while. I agree, man. One thing that drives me crazy is price missing me by a penny. You'll hear me say that every single day. Like, oh my God, I was just missed by like 3 cents on a name like Meta where the spread is 5. Like, how do you even get missed? Just one tick down and you would have got filled. But, and that's it. Yeah, that's the worst part, when you eventually get stopped out. When if you would have got hit, you would have made money, but you don't. And I agree, man. I think there's a few other people here that agree with you. So AMD reload, yeah, possibly. But we did get reloaded there on... You know, look, AMD is a good one for us because we're right here. We're already short, but you are there's no doubt about that. This is a reload area. But for me now, with only 15 minutes left before imbalances, I don't really feel like it is a reload spot for me. So, you know, I will be backing away from taking any more. I already averaged into this trade right here, Apple, which almost took me out there at 65. It went to 64. So there's another example, Derek, that like I almost got taken out and didn't. So it saved me a little bit of money. I could punch out now and save myself 10 cents. Not going to do it. Going to be stubborn and see about holding this Apple trade to see if it can come work back in for us. But that was an example of not getting stopped out by a penny or two. So that was a good one. Maybe we should just take that as a gift and get out now. But we'll hold it. We'll see if it wants to move back down to the downside. Brendan just told us, and I did see someone in the chat there, AMD's going to get to $80 by July 15th, probably. I don't think that's crazy there for Ron Williams. I like that call, no doubt about that. I like AMD swing. I like Apple swing. I've already talked about Meta. I talked about the Meta swing yesterday at 160. Where is Meta right now? 160, so that didn't do anything. We did go all the way to the downside. Meta's a dangerous one because of all the news, but I like this one for a swing. If you're going to play strength and tech, I really think that Meta can go with an 11 PE, should be able to go, but you know, there's more stories behind Meta, so you guys know all about that. Looks like Clovis got his high for us as 60, and we have that out. So far so good on that with the reload back down there at 40. But is there, Neil, enough time left for the market to do anything on Clovis? If it pulls back, that might be it, and you may get flushed out. But I'm going to try one more time at 40 for the long if it does come back in.
I'm feeling like maybe not. What happens sometimes to the small caps is when the market is really, really strong, the attention goes to some of the bigger names. And the ES, by the way, took out yesterday's high. That's probably the only reason. Like, I'm not reloading Micron up there, not reloading when we're breaking out. And that's kind of the thing. It could have worked. Maybe we would have rejected that level another time. I didn't get Meta because that's when CLVS was breaking out. And I mean, get Meta, shorting the 160. And because I didn't get the first fill and now I see the ES is breaking out, I'm not going to take this one either. And even if Amazon goes to 110, actually, I might still take Amazon at 110 because I have my offer sitting in front of 110. With the ES breaking out, Amazon didn't even budge. So the NASDAQ is still kind of sitting at the high from the morning. So, Amazon's not exactly testing the highs when you've gotten the break on both futures. So yeah, I'll still take that one for a scalp short off 110 unless it is 350. But I'm just checking in on individual names right now. There's no need to reload when you're breaking highs, and there's no need to jump in if something is threatening to break. But if we have shown some signs of slowing down on Amazon while the market's going, then I don't mind jumping into that one if I can. You asked if I think it's going to go. As far as CLVS, I kind of feel like maybe something changed. Yeah, it's going right now, but maybe something changed when a lot of that order got filled and there was so much liquidity there that got printed up into that 250 move. So a lot of people already took it. Anybody with that long here on the 40s and the 45s after that break is probably more apt to be taking profits here, slowing the move down. But I'm offering it in front of 70s and 75s. If it gets to that, I'll be happy with the trade. We'll just take that winner if we can do that. Normally, I think you could have a chance to get to 3. Maybe with the long weekend as well and lower volumes, I just don't think it has the juice to do it. So I'll be a little bit more conservative with it if we do happen to get a late push in CLVS. I don't really see too much else, which is going nuts. Give me the filk. I'm on the offer right here.
I got it already.
You got it?
Yeah.
I
got 66s.
Okay, I'm on 67. I'll move to 65.
All right, we'll do that because there it is. I mean, regardless of what prices we get here, it is a money trade for us. So that's the money dance right there. What is this? Oh, crickets. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Is it that bad?
We'll hit them there. That guy looked like Brankles there for a minute. But right now, Clovis, nice out for me. We're now out. We only have a third left. So now I'm going to switch up my strategy because the end of the day is here. So let's put a stop order now on CLVS. I know Meta's at 160. I'm going to talk about that in a minute because that's really upsetting to me. And I'll tell you, no, it's not upsetting, whatever. Meta's my #1 stock today. Is it though? Yep, I think so. Yep, it is. But look at these, man. I mean, we had all these bottoms on Meta, like just let it come into us there at 155. So I'm kind of upset because it should be a $5 winner, and the most we took on it was out there at 157. So we took $2 and then let it just rip up to the upside, and now we're just like fooling around with AMD and Apple and all that when really Meta was the one to trade. I mean, it's been my #1 stock all of June and then into July it should have been as well. There goes Apple. We will flush ourselves down. It was a little bit of a roller coaster there on Apple as we took the last spot. I think that's fine. And that, like I said, not a big hit on Apple at all. We will not be at the high of the day for us, but we're not far away. So Apple right now, good move. There it goes, upside. I was going to take that Meta break at 160. But right now, with only 10 minutes left, I feel like it's not a great call to take a break right now. But the market's just rolling. Really happy, man. Up 0.74. Some of these names are starting to battle back for us. We did get out of the way of Amazon. Still positive, but you know that's starting to rip up. Neil just talked about Amazon there. Alibaba taking out that 115 today and marching. We looked at that earlier at 112 and was like, yeah, do we want this name down there? And we should have got it. It didn't go to 112, but look at that right into the pre-market levels of 113 and a nice take, for Alibaba. And again, you're right back to those levels. So if we had a little bit more time in the day, then I think that there would be some more shorts in here. Look at how nice this is looking. Top there on Alibaba. So, man, it's just, I can't do it. There's not that much time left. I'm going to just hold out for Alibaba, see if it wants to go back down. But for now, no trade there. But I'm looking at 112 next week and looking at this 116 high as well.
Yeah, and I just took it when the NASDAQ ticked the high, broke the high for a brief second there. I just got out of Micron. You know, running in, we're like 10 minutes or less than 10 minutes to the imbalances anyways, when usually I want to get flat. So you might as well just get out of the short if it's still in the money. It was still in the money, about 25 pennies. So it's just worthwhile to grab that out when you can get it. I'm on the offer again on Mullen. And by the way, just this is an interesting name for next week at least because, and it's not doing a heck of a lot today. Even though it's done 54 million in volume, I know that seems crazy. A lot of that was at the open on that flush. But you still had a complete and utter rejection of the breakdown at $1. And when you see that happen on a stock and then it reaffirms at $1, you might just see me coming on. Well, you know what? Actually, never mind. I'm going camping. I won't be back until Thursday. So,
oh yeah, that's right.
So when you come back on Tuesday, and I won't get a chance for Tuesday or Wednesday, but either way, maybe you guys can, maybe those of you looking at Mullen, if you're still holding and getting a chance between $1 and $1.10, a wipeout bottom where it shakes out through $1 and then reestablishes the level is usually a pretty good entry point. So if you can get that and start scalping it again, it also, by scalping longs at 2s, 3s, and 4s or whatever, even 5s in front of $1 with a defined out, you can always hold on to a piece of that. And then if it breaks out, you've already paid yourself, you have a tight stop, and then you can hold a quarter of it in case it goes up to 125, 130. Why not? It's almost like a decent little free roll there. So I'd be on board with that, except for the fact that I will be car camping.
I forgot about that, man. Yeah, Neil's not going to be back in here till Thursday.
So pray for me.
Yeah, say goodbye
beef
to Neil.
Beef jerky and whatever else you eat when you're camping. We do have. My wife got
everything.
She got some beef jerky, so
yes, that's good.
That'll be good. Yeah, it'll be fun, man. Sometimes you like disconnecting, having fun. There's a beach up where we're going, so we'll have some fun there. I finally did get that fill on CLVS. I'll hold on to the last little bit with a trail back at 250. So we'll just either get to 275 or makes 250 there. Thank you, Marvin Key, for the super chat. Happy holidays to you as well. So whether it's you're celebrating Canada Day or July 4th, of course, on Monday, or heck, if you just want to celebrate because it's the weekend and it's been a fun trading week, make sure you do it. Have fun. Have a nice cold beverage. I'll be having some dark and stormies. Get the ginger beer. Get the rum. That's one of my summer favorites.
All right, the dark and stormy. Yeah, I like that drink. All right, guys. Neil, not here till next Thursday. So, that's going to be exciting. Have a good weekend. Yeah, Rune will be here with me next week. And then I'm off again next week as well. I'm off Thursday, Friday, so I don't even see you for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm off again after that. So I'm going to go visit the in-laws as well the week after.
Nice.
So, okay. There it is. So Clovis going back up to the upside. So we are on a little bit of summer vacay mode here, and I think that's the best time to take your vacations, as the market not the greatest when summertime comes through. But all right, Clovis back up through 70. Here we go. Nice move to the end of here. You still have some? Yeah, there it goes.
Got out.
Okay, good. You got out nice. 73. I don't have any offers. Let's go Clovis. A nice little move to the upside. Trying to diamond hands it. Let's see where it goes from here. But Clovis
might go 3.
Might go 3. So we're going to put an offer now. I don't think it's going to go 3, but we're going to go 85. Let's see if we can get an 85 on here just randomly. Touchdown there to 79. One more push to the upside, and we maybe have something there. So we'll wait to see if that wants to go. But Clovis right now, nice move to the downside. Gave you some opportunities to reload it there. We didn't, but now it's up there at that 80 level. So let's see where it goes from here. Don't mind it, Clovis. We're long 53, saving us a little bit here. It's been a little bit boring into the close. Apple took out the highs. Right back in. So like I said, not much happening there. And then AMD, we're still in the 36 center here. But yeah, the imbalances are going to be coming through. Let's get rid of ARCA here, as I don't know why. It never saves when I don't even want to look at it. But Zila, that embattered company down there, what is that, 17 cents, now 11 cents.
11 cents?
That's not, what is it down today? Actually, it's flat today. But anyway, Zila, these are all from 9:30, so don't look at these and be like, oh my God, there's some imbalances, because there's not. We'll wait till 3:50 when they come out. No change from Brendan 4 minutes ago. So Financial Juice giving it up at 420 or whatever he wrote. So small bid side, but it still is a bid.
Yeah, a bit of a nothing burger. Just checking back in a few other names here. Coinbase, man, it didn't do anything, so it looks pretty weak still. And to try to remember too, we're heading to we're basically holding 19,000, but holding below 20,000 going into the weekend when usually you see some moves. So that 20,000 rejection yesterday, that kind of gives me the feels that it might not be a good crypto weekend. Mullen, give me one more fill. I just got to fill at 07s. I got one more sitting here in front of 10. So if it pushes up to 109, great. Otherwise, I'll probably just punch out if it takes 105. It's the last thing I have on. I doubt I'll take anything else unless it's after or at that 350 number. But with such a small imbalance in there, I might just be hollowing out anything we see that's interesting. Someone just said Bed Bath & Beyond, please. Sure. Mullen's not moving. That's all I have. That had a pretty strong recovery in Bed Bath & Beyond. Yeah, Brendan mentioned this. Yeah, off the bottoms, it got up to 480 here. Why did it do that? This stock has been obviously a big dog, but since it broke that $5, it's been an interesting level. The rejection at 5 was probably a missed opportunity trade. So I don't know. I kind of feel with this, that 5 after that first bounce on earnings, that was a good long off it. When it broke, it was kind of crappy short. I would say this is a weak stock that you're shorting in front of $5, and if you gap above it, use it as support, and maybe it can squeeze for you. But this is a squeeze play and squeeze play only. Maybe someone likes it and wants to buy it, but I should buy the company. But the catalyst here would be a squeeze. Ugly quarter. But that $5 level looks really, really good now that I look at it. Wasn't paying attention this morning, and if I had, I would have shorted it. But the other one too, if I had paid attention to a firm, I would have made some money on that short, although it might have stopped you out. Alibaba just rejected the high, but the market still at the top. It's the NASDAQ why we're not screaming, by the way. So the ES is holding the highs, but the NASDAQ is right at the top from this morning and just sort of fading and not really following through. So I think that's why we're not pressing any higher. We're going to wait till 350, I think, before we pick a direction here. I get risk to reward would be shorting off the top, I suppose.
I mean, I suppose I should maybe just get out of Clovis here. I don't know. Don't really have, too much of an opinion on this name anymore. I mean, I'm still waiting for 80s. So if that can come through, I'm actually at 78 here. So I shouldn't say I'm waiting for 80s. I'm at 78 right now on this name. So maybe that's something that can come out for us here on Clovis to the upside if we can get it. There it is. So we just got that. So a nice little trade there. Not a diamond hander, but it's still pretty happy with that trade there on Clovis as it just hit us out at 80. So, hey, we'll take that 10, a little bit more, about, 15, 20% there of profit as now it's starting to run. There goes Clovis. But, okay, so the only position we have left is this guy here, AMD, and it's not doing anything, and we have a very light position. So let's just wait to see what these imbalances come out at. Brennan, no change again on that one. So I'm not expecting there to be anything coming through. So, we'll just rest on that, see what happens now with the imbalances and with AMD and with everything else that we're trading. So here we go. Nice little upside move here to end the week. Up 0.77.
Still in Clovis?
Yeah, still at the close. We're still really happy.
Clovis.
Clovis. What is it doing now?
It went to 80.
Yeah, I'm out. I got out at 78.
Oh, you got out.
Yeah,
okay.
so I got out there at 78. So, or 79, one of those levels. I don't know, what is that? 70? Yeah, 78. So out of Clovis at 78 there. So far, so good on that one. Pretty happy with everything there. Clovis was a good trade for us, and we're out now. So good trade on that. And then AMD, we're just waiting for it to go. Amazon, new highs again. Short, and out. Again, took the profit, got out in the last bit. As all these stocks are climbing, I'm a happy guy, man. The portfolio's doing a little bit better here today. But yeah,
there's the NASDAQ taking the top.
Yeah, there it is. So now the market's going with only a few seconds left. Let's see what happens now when we look at these imbalances. And here they come right now with only a couple seconds left. Looks like it is going to be downside. Some of the market's starting to head to the downside right now. So 11,602, 11,603, still moving downside there for the market. I don't really see BOBA as a sell. We talked about that. Little downside move there in Alibaba.
Oh, that was
and that's about it, man. I guess we could take this advantage and get out of our AMD, but AMD not moving as well there. So AMD just touched down to 73. Okay, maybe there is some potential there.
Yeah, that 1 million to sell on BOBA, or maybe 1 and change million to sell on BOBA, does turn the stock right back through 116. So it tried to get through the lower high that it just put in 116.30, it looks like, and then pull right back. That was the imbalances that did it. So BOBA moving downside here to start to end the day, I should say, end the first day of the month. Not quick enough. I pulled it up, and there was maybe a quick chance to short 116 on the break off that imbalance, but it's come and gone here. The algos are pretty quick, and that's what it's all about there. Why? Someone just said, why aren't you talking about Apple heading to 13 and lower? Pull the fibs. It's going down. I know Sean was looking at Apple. It's just, you can't trade everything. I have a limited number of things that I'm looking at.
What was the thing?
I don't know. It's actually not really doing a heck of a lot. But to me, I had a few other names I was looking at: Alibaba, Amazon, Meta, AMD, Micron, and NVIDIA. Those are the ones that were sort of my cup of tea. You can't really track everything. It's kind of difficult to do. And I would suggest that you don't want to do that. It's sort of going around. Like the NASDAQ just rejected that high. So when I see that happen, I kind of go over to what some of the big boys are doing. Yeah, so Microsoft pulling off, NASDAQ breaking that, failing that top. You're going to see Microsoft pulling off there. Looks like the risk to reward of shorting off the high might have made some sense. I'm just going to get out of this Mullen trade because that's all there is left for me.
Yep, good call on that Mullen. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really use Fibonacci. Probably should if that's what you're talking about. I will, do a little bit more work. I've looked at them before, and that's why I implemented the 50 period moving out. And that's not why, but I mean, I'm always looking to improve my trading, as I think a lot of us are. So yeah, any kind of a hint on anything there, we'll take it.
So they're okay for exits. I've never used it for entry points.
I've never used it. Period.
You know who's you remember Kay?
Kevin, yeah.
Yeah, he was big on Fibonacci's for exit points, and it's just a good way to work out of trades and figure out how far the move could go. So it's just every trader, you use what you use, right? I just find that the longer I've traded, the less I'll look at.
The less,
too. Yeah,
I mean, you get a feel for the market. And I think
you get a feel for what worked. Man, like when I started out, I had Bollinger Bands and MACDs everywhere, and I was drawing trend lines all over the bloody place. And at some point, it's all too much. And then when I started trading like penny stocks, early on my first year of trading, and started to get profitable with them, everything was really simplistic off support and resistance. And then when I go to things that move, I go back to that because that's what makes some sense. And just watching Microsoft pull back here with the rest of the market is we do see some corners. Remember I said Tesla wasn't doing anything? And then, of course, Tesla broke out from that 75 level, got up to 82, and is still, it's pulling back a little bit here, but it eventually broke out of that consolidation. So it looked like there was something in Tesla. I kind of wrote it off after it did nothing, but that 75 break did work out. So congrats if you had it. And CLVS, congrats if you're holding on to this. We can't swing on this kind of stock.
Nah,
well, no, it got to 87. That's still going. The break was, this broke from, 238 was where that seller was, 250, up to 287. Like, that's a great trade there. I kind of wish now that I'd hit that guy at 38. And why not? Like, this stock has room to go. Like, that 250 break is a huge level on the daily chart, that 250. It's also the 200 period. There's room on this thing to $3. What you want to see is on Tuesday, if it gaps down, does it hold that 250 level? That'll be the key thing for Clovis. But strong move, man. This stock was under $1 like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
A little bit of a downside move there in AMD as we'll hit the diamond hands there. I'm going to just put a bid now. There's only 5 minutes to go. We just had a nice move to the downside there in AMD. As you guys can see, it just cracked lower there, down to 73 flat. 73.50 is where we're at now, but we just resisted that. I was looking at 73 flat there. It didn't go down there. That is where my bid is, but yeah, just didn't go through. Remember what I said, like, we get out of Apple there and then the imbalances, they never work the right way? Well, if I just waited 5 more minutes, we'd be laughing on that one. But there goes AMD back up to the upside. So let's just get out of this now. If we can get that 50 bid, we'll take it one more time here. Back down. Give me that 50 bid, and we'll take this to end the day with a nice little 60-cent win. Come on, AMD. Get back to the downside a little bit here if we can. Sometimes at 355, there it is, at 355, there it is. And there's the out there. So yes, sir, Superman right there on that last trade for AMD. Some of these shorts there, these never went against us. We had one trade that went against. We got out, then we reloaded it. We talked about that with you when we were doing that. We actually got out when Frank was on, and then we got back in as well. So I hope you guys didn't miss that. That's why we have our positions at the bottom. So right now, Neil's the only one in something. He's long.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Well,
I'm out of Mullen.
All right. Well, Neil's the only one showing that he's in something.
Let me refresh my blotter just to be sure. I just covered
refresh
it.
Just to make sure. I'm refreshing mine right now to make sure I don't have any more. Okay, so we're all flat. So we're flat on everything. That is a mistake there on Mullen. I'm glad I pointed it out.
Well, it's worth checking. Every now and then, it's like there are so many messages back and forth in trading platform. Computers are like one message gets missed, and suddenly you can think you're in a position. But that's obviously a hiccup. I am flat on the stock. But Alibaba did not flip, but it paired off. Like that big imbalance went down to like a few hundred thousand, so like 1.2 million to 300,000. It is now paired off. It's bouncing a little bit off of that. I'm flat. I'm gonna stay that way. Going into the long weekend, just be happy. We have a bit of a treat that we'll see what happens. For our normal bell ringer, which we have Tony. Tony, he's not here. Took an early long weekend. Oh, it's Canada Day, so he gets a day off.
No, he's at the Jays game.
Oh, he's at the Jays game. That's right. Yeah, he's having fun. He works at the Jays.
This man is a hard worker, boy.
We also have no Randy here today, so we're going to do something a little bit different.
You mean?
Something a little different with the bell ring. So stay tuned for that in a few minutes for this close. Market, I guess you could have taken Baba to the long side just there off of that flip on the imbalances. But the key thing
you
is...
said Baba. Oh,
Baba?
No. Oh, no. Now
I'm only saying Baba.
Now because of Ian.
It's all about Baba because of Ian. But if you'd taken that at 355, when imbalances a lot of times will pair off either at 55 or at 58 when you get an update from the floor. And if you grab that long, it was a strong stock before, once you see it flip, nice little scalp trade you can have. Those are the types of things you can do off the imbalance. I think the better trade to me would have been shorting the 116 when the imbalance to sell came out. It's just a little bit lower hanging fruit because it's pulling off the highs with the rest of the market, and it's a pretty big level where a bunch of trailing stops likely would be. But yeah, the long worked for you for about 20 or 30 cents. And the meta short, good one at 160. I opted not to take it eventually because I felt it was a little bit too late in the day. But you got to make your own call there. It definitely paid you off, gave you that 50 cents. Pretty risk-free. It got up, it broke it by like 10 or 12 cents. So it really didn't take out that level, comes right back through and gives you a clean 50-cent win. I know a couple of you guys got it, so congrats on you.
Yeah, good job there. With only 2 minutes left to go, man. Let's go Blue Jays. Let's go everybody and celebrate Canada Day. So we'll just do one more thing. And happy Canada Day to everybody. We are not here on the 4th. So obviously the markets will be closed. We're not going to sit here and trade the Canadian markets or anything. We are back on Tuesday. Neil's back on Thursday. So, you know, he's going to have a good one there. And we're getting ready now to ring the bell with only 2 minutes left.
Countdown.
I hate you, Meta. Yeah, how high did that go up?
Actually, I can do it.
Oh, 159. You can do what?
Don't worry, I'll hit the countdown.
Oh, you'll hit the countdown. Okay. Oh, I have the count. Okay. Yeah, Neil's got this. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit here and try to close this out. A minute and a half left. Why? Look, I also hate Meta, but maybe hopefully for different reasons than you. I made a lot of money on Meta today. It's my #1 name, but I do understand what the heck Meta has been doing right now, bouncing off this 160 level, and that 160 remains key. It was key for a while, and it's going to be key again. There it is, 160 held there, back down. I mean, 160 is all over this place. So a 155 bottom, wow. Can't believe we had that earlier on, but we did have it in Meta. So here we go. You're still hitting it. So
I know,
160 there on a key level for Meta as we go. Let's check in on Clovis quickly. Oh, wow, Clovis. Congratulations, anybody that held that. Bang for anybody. Clovis now 290, man. We had this nicely done at 255 and change. So we'll wait out for that one as we only have 40 seconds to go now in the bell. So there it is, Clovis. Good move. Thank you to everybody that brought that to our attention because, wow, up 60% now and still rocking 255 long or 253 long on Clovis. Paid out. Our best out 78 here. Now we only have 20 seconds to go. Thank you, Kennedy, for the super chat. That's very kind of you, 99 cents. Hey, I was drinking dollar beer yesterday, so we'll have one of those on you today. Thank you, Kennedy, for that right here. Whoops, I can't pull the chat over. It's not working. But thank you for that. Peace to everybody. Happy Canada Day. As now we only have 10 seconds left, so the bell's getting ready to be rung. There it is. He's loaded up. 4, 3, 2, and 1. There we go. That's like Thor. I thought that was like a Thor smash there. So good job there. Neil, thank God you didn't like land and twist your knee or hurt your back or anything like that.
I mean, a little bit. A little bit.
Okay, hopefully not too much, but good one there. As you're going to go.
I never get to ring the bell. Come on.
I like that one. That was a good one. There, Bears versus Bulls liked it. Peace out to everyone. That was the best bell ring. So there you go. I agree, man. I think the more we do,
I should have running shoes on the next time I do that.
On that. Pretty fun there. I like the one where Fahad, I think, hit his head when he came back.
That was the best one. Fahad with the head, because that was accidental. But
that was a pretty good one there for sure. So there we go. Everyone likes that one. It's the first of the month. Yeah, it is, man. Happy Canada Day for everybody as well. Nice. As the random, we have about 3 or 4 traders that are back here.
Kudos to all the traders that stuck it out. It's a long weekend for us, but yeah, I mean, it shows that dedication, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, Brendan, it was a big move there to close out the day. So how did we wind up on all these markets?
My board, guys, has been working fantastically all day. And then it decides to take a early long weekend as well. But yes, what a move. Back to the upside for the market overall. I mean, the S&P, from where we were this morning to where it ends the day, 1.02%. In fact, back to the upside. Pretty impressive move. This is a little bit laggy this afternoon, but an idea here, guys, of where we end the day. The Dow a full percent, 0.6 for the NASDAQ. Disregard the TSX. It was closed today for Canada Day, but hey, we'll take it. Positivity heading into the long weekend.
Yes, we will. And just to be clear, like, it is a mistake. I'm not in Mullen. I covered it. It just probably missed the message. So the bugs that are affecting you, sometimes it happens. I've done a refresh of my blotter and the floor blotter. We're all flat, so we're all good. Should be a good one. Man, I actually didn't. I had forgotten that I won't see you till, I guess, the week after next. Yeah, because I got a couple of days off going camping. We'll enjoy that. Right. And then you got a couple of days off to end the week. So it'll be a Rune all week. A couple of days with you and then a couple of days with me there. So that'll be fun to be sure.
Yeah, he's going to be, because he comes, he's like, oh man, I got to come in again. And now he's got all next week. So 4 days next week with the Rune, half with me, half with Neil.
He has to leave the dungeon.
He does. He has to leave the dungeon. He has to put on a different shirt and everything. So yeah, that's going to be, I got to get him to wear that spotted shirt because everyone loves that shirt, but he never wears it in here. I think that's the dungeon shirt. So I think he'll probably keep that at home.
He'll be happier if he wears that shirt.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He wears T-shirts.
He might pay for shorts if he wears that.
Hoodies. But yeah, Rune is in there next weekend. So yes. But it's not actual camping like it was last time, right?
Oh no! So last time we had the tent in my in-laws' place. Now they have a bunch of land up north, but no, it's car camping. We're going to an actual campground, but like you drive the car in. It's just outside of London.
What does car camping mean? Isn't that just normal camping? Like, how else are you going to get there if you don't drive?
So
a car?
like real camping. Yeah. So I've been told, and this is what my in-laws do this. Greg does this as well.
Oh, like you go like into Algonquin and
like
you leave your car.
No man, you leave the car. You take like a canoe. You go you portage.
That's not camping.
You go to a place where if something happens to you,
you're dead. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's
camping. I don't do that. Like
That's more, I like the word portage, that's great. I feel like camping is what you're doing, so good luck on that one. And yeah, Greg right now is like flying over Canada, like on some expedition, so hopefully he's having a fun time. I should message him to see if he can send us some pictures of that one there. So, okay, yeah, everyone's still talking about I liked that bell ring, that was pretty fun. Yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty epic, but they're thinking it's like overly epic. So I don't know.
Is that big a deal?
I don't know. That's why I didn't think it was that. I liked it.
Well, I still haven't seen it, so I'll have to go and watch the replay.
That was awesome. Yeah. Oh, and what are you drinking? You've already discussed that. Moscow Mules, you said. And you said, oh, what else did you say?
Well, probably not that. No. This weekend, I'm going to a friend's house tomorrow before we go camping.
Oh, that's right. You're not going until.
And it's a pool party. I'll drink the dark and stormy there. Like camping? No, I'll keep it simple. I'll probably just get some. I'm a big fan of of some other beers, but I'll probably just keep it simple with like Canadian or something. Yeah, beer when you camp, right?
That's so funny, man. Someone says camping is in your car is not camping. It's homelessness.
It's car camping because that's. I'm not camping in the car. We have this big ass tent that we don't need. It's like a 6-person tent for myself, my wife, and my 5-year-old. But it's nice. But I told her we didn't need something that big. But
no, guys, Mullen, we don't have.
Doesn't matter what I think.
We don't have any positions. Brendan, any plans this weekend?
I am running out of here to catch a plane, and I'm going to New York City this weekend.
What? Like
New
what?
York.
Like we're talking about going camping, and this guy's just jumping on a plane? What are you doing there?
It's because it's Brendan.
Just hanging out, you know.
One up everybody.
Just hanging out.
Brendan.
Eating some good food.
Like
checking out New York.
I'm tired of this guy, honestly. Like this guy, like no kids, no nothing. Just I'm just going to New York. Have you been before?
Never, actually.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Great city. I've been a couple times.
Chilling,
so
man.
obviously, wow. Like just randomly.
Are the Yankees in town? Are you gonna go?
Going to baseball?
I don't know. I'll have to check.
That's me. Like I would go to the Yankees. You'd go to like nice restaurants. I'd go to see the Yankees.
Yeah, I'm just flying down to like Puerto Rico myself, and I'm just gonna go down there. I'm probably right after this. I'm hopping on a plane and going down there, and just, have a good time. But no, hell no, I'll be around here. But anyways, guys, great show. Thank you so much. Enjoy everything, guys. It's been fantastic. Brendan, be safe. Neil, be safe as well. Although we'll be talking, and you'll be seeing you in a couple weeks, so that'd be great. Have fun, Brendan. And still can't get over this guy just going to New York. Shout out to Lucas over there. What a great week for Lucas this week. He's going to disagree, but he's had a great one there. Oh, good thing it wasn't the finger that was going up there. We got the deuces. That would have been pretty bad.
I think
but a shout out to everybody
traded.
Pardon?
Lucas needs a drink.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, Lucas needs a drink.
That's why I was like, I just ran out. I got him. He got Super Chicken with me as well. So I was like, let me just get it for you. I'm just going to go.
Good job,
thanks to Liz for filling in as well a couple times there. Shout out to Katrine. Liz rang the opening bell. Prad is here. Thanks to Prad. Thanks to Luca. Thanks to Brendan who all came in. Brandon back there. Ian, everybody came in on their day off. Well, not their day off, but on the Canada Day. So big shout out to that. We are not back on Monday, but we are on Tuesday. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you then. Ciao from Trader TV Live.